Good morning, everybody. I'd like to call to order the City of West Palm Beach Special Magistrate Hearing Agenda for May 5th, 2021. Happy Cinco de Mayo to everybody. If you're going to be testifying today or speaking to me about any of the matters on our agenda, your testimony needs to be under oath, so I will swear everybody in at this time who's going to be testifying. If you'll please stand and raise your right hands. Thank you. Do each of you swear or affirm under penalties of perjury that your testimony today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you very much. You can have a seat. Please silence your cell phones so they do not interrupt our proceedings. That will be appreciated. For folks that are present, when your case is called, if you will please come to the podium to my right. The way we'll proceed with each case is I will hear from the city's witnesses first. They will give me information about notice about the alleged violations. There may be photographs and documents that the city has in its records which may be displayed on the screens. You'll have an opportunity to look at those. Once the city has concluded its presentation and made any recommendations for a remedy, I will then come back to you. You'll have an opportunity to tell me anything additional that you feel is relevant about your case. If you have additional documents or photographs, that would be the time to produce those so that I can take a look at them. Once I've heard everything from everybody on the matter, in all likelihood, I will enter an order today that resolves the matter in one form or fashion. So that is generally how we'll proceed. There may be some construction service cases that we do first, so let's go ahead and get started.
Matter number 1, case number CE21010172, address 1037 18th Street.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I'm Richard McCoy with the City of West Palm Beach Building Department. This residence was cited on 1/13/2021. It was posted on 4/19/2021. It was also mailed regular mail and certified mail on 4/19/2021. And was received on 4/21/21. The city is asking for an additional 60 days and $100 a day after that.
So, it looks like all disciplines, they were doing work under all disciplines with no permits in this case?
Correct.
Has anything been applied for?
No, not
Nothing
at
at all?
this time.
All right. Do we have anybody here on behalf of the respondent in this case? We do not. However, the city has proper notice with the posting and the certified mail. Based on the testimony and the evidence that I've reviewed, I will accept the city's recommendation. I do find the property remains in violation as cited. I will allow the respondent 60 additional days to bring the property into compliance. Thereafter, daily fines of $100 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Matter number 2, case number CE21010353, address 5601 Greenwood Avenue. Telio?
Sir,
Is Telio here?
He's not in here.
I think we'll have to reschedule. It doesn't show close. Does it say close on yours?
Can we pull it for now in case he shows up later, and otherwise we'll do it another day if he
That's
doesn't?
fine, sure.
Excuse me, matter number 29, case number CE21040136, address 437 Monroe Drive.
Magistrate Mitch Posner, Code Enforcement. Just to let you know, this is tied in very much with case number 3 for the same location. I also didn't want to know if you'd want to hear them at the same time. Case
What's
number...
the other agenda item?
I'm sorry?
What was the other case?
29 is what she called, 3 is the other one.
And number 3.
Yes.
Yeah, why don't we do them, since it's the same property?
Same property.
Let's go ahead and take both of them.
And case number 3, excuse me, matter number 3, case number CE 210404146, address 437 Monroe Drive.
Sonia?
Good morning.
Morning.
Sonia Bin, City of West Palm Beach Code Enforcement. This property was cited on April 6, 2021. The notice of violation was posted on April 8, 2021. Certified mail was sent on April 8. The property was cited for Code 18162A, 2232A, 2635B, 82-144, and 94-6. I have not made contact with the property owner. For the record, to date, the rear cottage of this property is permitted for rental. However, the property owner is conducting unlicensed business activity by renting the upstairs of the main structure, which is not permitted within the city. May I provide you with an arrest affidavit of evidence supporting the unlicensed business activity?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
And do we have anybody here on behalf of the respondent for this case? It does not appear that we do. Was the certified mail received? Okay. Okay, and does that apply to both case numbers, both agenda items?
That is correct. On April 27, 2021, I did receive a voice message from the property owner pertaining to the notice of violations. Unfortunately, I was unable to return the call because he didn't leave any contact information.
Okay,
So he
so
did.
with the certified mail that was returned and the posting on both cases, I will find proper notice.
That is correct.
Give me a moment to review the document that I've been provided. For the record, this is a probable cause affidavit, City of West Palm Beach Police Department, Agency Report 9 for 2021-3229. Just give me a minute.
Correct. And I do have the code enforcement supervisor and other personnel that would like to testify pertaining to this case.
Okay, just give me a moment to read over
Thank
this
you.
real quick. All right, thank you. I've reviewed the document. That'll be part of the record. Go ahead with your next witness.
Mr. Posner, Code Enforcement. Magistrate, the police report you've already been provided. This is in regards to the second case, which is Code Section 2239, denial of a certificate of use by the city, suspension, revocation of certificate of use by the special magistrate, and 2239A2, owner applicant as part of the business activity has violated the city codes, which regulates the use and or operation of the premises, or has determined that the continuation of the business activity tends to annoy the community or injure the health of the citizens in general, or becomes manifestly injurious to the public morals. Those last two parts are the key to this case. With that police report you have dated 3/17 of 21, outlines unconscionable criminal activity that makes it very clear an unlicensed upstairs unit was being rented despite being prohibited by zoning code. The same report describes a similar incident in 2013 and another in 2008. When PD executed the search warrant, as you've seen in the report, peepholes were discovered looking into the bedrooms of both units, the illegal unit and the additional unit. While the rear unit was legally rented, the current tenant advised police she had resided in that illegal unit from 2016 through 2020 before moving to the legal unit. I have here the arrest report for the owner and the holder of the business license, having been arrested for the charges based on there it is, the affidavit that you have. Okay. That was also on 3/17/21. On 9/12/14, a rental license inspection was failed, excuse me, due to the property not being zoned for the upstairs unit. Mr. Fair, the owner, wrote the mayor at the time regarding the issue on 9/23/14. On 10/26/14, he emailed Community Improvement Manager Mark Joyce. The matter was turned over to Chief Building Official Robert Brown, who sent him a lengthy email response as to why this was not going to be licensed. And I have here the letter to the mayor, as well as the email he sent in and Robert Brown's response.
Okay. Thank you. Give me just a second to look at this real quick.
Certainly.
All right, so for the record, this is a September 23rd, 2014, three-page letter from Steve Fair to the then Mayor Moyo, and then an 8-page email exchange that concluded on April 6th of this year. And it looks like it began, well, actually, this goes all the way back to 2014 as well. So those two documents will also be included in the record.
Okay, just pointing out that the chief point of those two documents is way back in 2014, Mr. Fair was well aware of the fact that that unit could not be rented, was not zoned to be rented, no matter what permitting he got or adjustments he made to the unit. Before concluding, I have Detective Tatum here from West Palm Beach Police Department, the investigator for the police case, to testify and answer any questions you might have.
All right, thank you very much. Yes, ma'am.
This case came to us in March of this year. The victim called,
Detective, could you please state your name for the
oh,
record?
I'm sorry, Detective Brittany Tatum with the West Palm Beach Police Department. The victim reported a voyeurism that she believed was occurring because her landlord, Mr. Fair, had been calling her since she has moved out and told her very intimate details about her personal life and the things that she would do inside of her home. A lot of these things she confirmed about it, and she said that nobody should have known what she was doing or how she would do it or what she looked like without giving too much information unless she was seen. Searching a history search of the residence, he has been renting the upstairs unit also in addition since, I believe, 2008. We have reports going back where another victim did report voyeurism, possible voyeurism by Mr. Fair. A search warrant was executed on March 17th, which is the same day he was arrested, for voyeurism. Since then, this is still an open investigation, although he was arrested, and a lot of what the victims have told me thus far, I have corroborating evidence. So with that being said, it is still an open investigation, but I do have evidence and pending charges.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any other testimony from the city?
Just concluding.
Okay, yeah, and then if you can give me your recommendation on both cases.
That's, yeah, part of the conclusion. Between the events outlined in the police report and the chain of events regarding his failed attempt to have the upstairs area licensed as a rental unit, two things are very clear. First, Mr. Fair had full knowledge that he could not legally rent out the upstairs unit. Second, Mr. Fair willfully rented out the unit for years, dating as far back as 2008, and then 2014 from when he was definitely made aware he couldn't do so, and did so despite that knowledge. It is apparent that he not only violated willfully, he did so apparently to perpetuate continued unconscionable criminal activity while earning money month after month and year after year. Accordingly, for the first case, the illegal use of land, the city is requesting a one-time irrevocable fine of $10,000. Code enforcement fines are not supposed to be punitive, and the city believes this to be appropriate. A current estimate for a nearby similar rental is $1,200 per month, which is $14,400 per year. In the face of approximately at least 8 years of illegally renting out the unit, even accounting for inflation, the total earnings from the illicit activity far exceeds a $10,000 fine. And that is what makes it appropriate. In the case of the revocation of the rental license that was granted, the city is requesting a 1-year revocation of the certificate of use, the maximum allowed by city code, as due to the nature of the alleged criminal activities the rental property was used for. The city requests the revocation to be effective immediately for 1 year. And again, in accordance with 2239A2, this is due to activity at the property that injures the health of the citizens in general or becomes manifestly injurious to the public morals.
All right, thank you, Mr. Posner. Is there anything else from the city on this case?
No, sir.
All right, and again, is there anybody here on behalf of the respondent? All right, I've already found proper notice in both cases. I have reviewed the documents that have been provided. I have listened to the testimony. I think the city's recommendation in both cases is appropriate. I will find in case number 21-40146 that the property remains in violation as cited. Likewise, I will find in case 21-40136 that the property remains in violation as cited. In case number 21-40146, I will revoke the certificate of use for the maximum 1-year period. In case number 21-40136, I will impose the one-time fine of $10,000. Yes, ma'am.
Can you clarify, does the revocation start immediately, or when does it start?
My intent would be for it to start immediately. Yes, absolutely. All right, thank you for that. All right.
Matter number 2, case number CE 2101-0353, 5601 Greenwood Avenue is rescheduled. Matter number 27, CE 21030372, case address 315 Marlborough Road. Yeah, I'm going to have to type them up when I...
Can we skip this and come back to it and call case for whoever the next officer on the agenda would be, or next person would be?
Sure, yes.
Jumping to matter number 64, case number CE 21030130, case address 726 Forest Hill Boulevard.
Did you say agenda item 54?
64.
64.
Good morning, Officer Lester, West Palm Code Enforcement.
Morning.
Okay. Oh, okay, very good. Officer Luster, West Palm Beach Code Enforcement. This property was cited for lighting standards. All the awnings in the home was closed down. Ventilation standards, same reason, awnings are down. Overcrowdedness, landscape of sodding the front yard and swale, parking requirements. Okay. And land restriction of use, meaning 3 or more unrelated persons are living at the property, and outdoor storage. As of now, none of the violations are in full compliance, and I'm asking for, go back to where it was, 30 more days to come into full compliance, or $100 per day. And just to add to the record, there have been 5 police calls for service there, 1 for trespassing, and other 4 was for troubles with neighbors. That's what I'm asking for. And the
Have we
case
get
was,
notice for today's-
certified mail was signed on 3/15/21. The property was posted on 4/21. And one of the tenants did give me a call. His name is Brian, to inform me that it was 5 people living in the home, and 1 person living in the shed that was erected by his father, and that everyone there were owners of vehicles, so that was the reason why they had to park where they had to park, because Forest Hill is a main thoroughfare, so it's, a lot of trouble on parking. And his other objection to even having the violation posted at the house was that they were doing their best and the owner wasn't doing anything. That was his words to me.
Tell me about what is the ventilation standard violation?
With the shutters being completely down in the house, he cannot open any of the windows.
Okay.
And he did inform me that several of the windows do not work. They don't open anyway. And so there were no lighting to the house and no ventilation standards. The windows must be able to open to the outside.
Okay, and then the same thing with the lighting is the issue of the
Yes, sir,
shutters
the
all
shutters. Yes, sir.
All right, is there anybody here on behalf of the respondent for this case?
Yes,
Why don't you tell me your name and address, and then you can, yeah, go ahead and tell me your name and address, and then you can tell me about the case.
okay. My name is Kushla Talbot. I'm an attorney with the law firm Greenberg Trorg, here on behalf of the owner, FYR SFR Borrower LLC. They are a subsidiary of Front Yard Residential. So I'm here today. I think it's helpful to kind of give some background on who the owner is. They own thousands of single-family homes throughout Florida and Georgia. They take kind of older single-family homes, renovate them, and then rent them out to residents with the hope that it kind of gives an alternative home for residents instead of just having an apartment. Typically, what they're looking for is maybe a couple that maybe don't have enough for a down payment on a home yet, or maybe an older couple that's looking to downsize. They're not looking to get into another mortgage, or maybe, somebody who's just moving into the area. So this is not who they typically want to rent to. They do have a rental license, so at one point, there was an inspection on the property, and therefore they did have all of the working conditions. So it's surprising to hear that they do not have working windows at this point. We understand that there have been a number of neighborhood issues with this property. And so given everything that's happening, they are deciding to terminate this resident. They sent a notice of termination after a notice to cure, and they're giving them 7 days to move out of the property. If that doesn't happen, then they're going to move forward with eviction proceedings. A lot of these violations are things that can't be remedied until the tenant is out of the property. We're not able to go into the home and fix any of these items. We can't just go in and install the sod without the tenant vacating the property. So I understand that everybody wants to get this taken care of as quickly as possible. My client does as well. But if this does have to go to an eviction, that I'm worried that the time frame that's been given will not be sufficient. I don't know if maybe I could come back in 60 days and kind of give a status update on where things are, so that we're able to kind of continue to have some communication about this case and bring it into compliance.
All right, thank you very much. Is there anything else from the city on this?
Yes, we have one resident, which is one of the complainants of, the problems they've been going through, Ms. Lynch. She'd like to speak.
Okay, come on up. Ma'am, were you sworn in when I placed everyone under oath? Thank you. If you could tell me your name and address, and then you can tell me about the
Yes, sir.
case.
My name is Ann Lynch. I live at 721 Winter Street, which is the property directly behind this property.
Yes, ma'am.
I have communicated with the property manager, the business, it's Haverbrook Homes, and it's in Georgia. The first time I contacted them was in January, and when they learned that I was a neighbor, they hung up on me. I sent certified letters to the property manager and the owner who lives in the Virgin Islands. They own thousands, they purchased a lot of property in this area. They're absentee landlords. They had no interest in trying to deal with this problem going back to January. And I have finally made contact. Once I told them that I was an attorney, I got a call back from a Mike Smith, the woman who is in charge of managing this property. They have done absolutely nothing except disregard all of the problems to this day. And the idea that they're sending a 7-day notice now, because this hearing was set, is the only reason they're doing that. I've witnessed this is a boarding house, so there's at least 6 people, maybe 7, 5 people that are clearly unrelated because they're different races, males in their 20s, a senior citizen, a Spanish man who lives in a shed that doesn't have water, doesn't have toilets. He has actually been seen walking from the shed to the main house in his underwear first thing in the morning.
Let me just ask you, there's a shed, is that in the previous picture, is that the shed you were talking about?
Yeah, it has an air conditioner that is running. First, I looked at it at 7 o'clock in the morning, and it was running when everyone was clearly not up yet. They have parties all the time. They have loud music. It's just completely inappropriate for the neighborhood, and they don't care. It's just not good. Just generally, it degrades the whole quality of life for that whole neighborhood. It's right on Forest Hill Boulevard, and I really would like you to do whatever you can today to make sure that this behavior stops. It's just intolerable. And the idea that the owners are going to, suggest that they're going to try to make it right now, it's been 5 months, and they've been on notice for 5 months. So I would like you to consider all of that when you make your decision about what's going to happen going forward. I'd want maximum fines. They spent millions of dollars in a lump sum. If you look at this house, it says on the records for the purchase price, it was I'm not sure how much it was, but it was more than $1 million. It was like $2-3 million. So they must have bought a bunch of properties at the same time. If they're going to be in property management and own properties, they really should have to be responsible for them and not degrade the value of the properties around them.
All right, thank you, ma'am. And I'm going to come back and give you an opportunity to ask any questions or respond. But before I do, just to, Ms. Luster, can you remind me when this case was opened or when it started? I know you testified to that. I didn't write it down. What was the?
The certified mail went and signed on this property on 3/15/21, and I posted the property on 4/20/21, and I did that because ever since Ms. Lynch called me initially, I was trying to gather my evidence so I could make sure that I had enough to bring the code board in regards to the overcrowdedness, the unpaved parking, and also building does have a case pending on it in regards to the illegal structures that was built and the fencing that was put up. And I think their reinspection is May 20th.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's been a while.
All right. And ma'am, you may have questions or additional statements you'd like to make. Go ahead.
Sure. So I think I understand that Ms. Lynch has been dealing with this for quite some time, and I am very sympathetic to that. I think that at first the owner thought that maybe this was just a neighborhood issue and that it would kind of sort themselves out. They did send a notice to cure back in February with respect to the police report about firing a BB gun. Honestly, that police report did not sound as dire as it is today. And so, you know, I don't think that they were really aware of how significant the issues were, which was why they're now kind of bringing it to an eviction. And so, you know, I do understand that, you know, Ms. Lynch is upset and that, you know, rightfully so, I understand. But, you know, we're trying to bring it into compliance. We just need time and we need, you know, to go through the procedure that, you know, is set forth in the statute for an eviction.
All right. Tell me again when you served the tenants with the 7-day notice.
So we first served them, I think I have a copy of it. We first served them with a notice to cure on February 18th, 2021, and that was for the firing of a pellet gun in connection with the police report.
Okay. And then you told me that you were giving them 7 days to move out before you start. When did that notice get served on them?
So we first then did a notice to cure, a 7-day notice to cure on 4/22 of 2021. And then we sent the notice of termination, and that went out on April 30th, 2021.
Well, I'm sorry, what day?
April 30th.
30th. Thank you very much. Is there anything else you'd like to tell me, ma'am?
No.
All right, anything else from the city?
No, sir.
All right. I do find proper notice in this case with the signed certified mail and the posting. The respondent is represented by counsel. Based on the testimony that I've heard and the evidence that I've reviewed, I do find that the property remains in violation as cited. I understand that your client is taking steps to try and get this cured, but I'm inclined to accept the city's recommendation. This needs to be fixed right as soon as possible. I am going to allow 30 additional days for compliance. Thereafter, daily fines of $100 per day until compliance is achieved. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Matter number 19, case number CE 21030203, address 5305 Broadway.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Robert. Morning. Robert Watkins, City of West Palm Beach Code Compliance. This property. This property was cited on March the 10th. Certified mail was sent March the 10th. Certified mail was returned. City Hall was posted on April the 2nd. This property was cited for 82-144, 22-32A, 105.1, 94-32A-3, 94-302A-4, 78-6, and 94-315B-1. Compliant violations were 94-315B-1, 94-302A. Remaining violations, 105.1, 94-302A-3, 78-6, 82-144, 22-32-A. I've had correspondence with the owner and the tenant there, and we've come to a conclusion with me and the tenant that 60 days would be suffice to receive the needed permits for the door and as well for the gate on the side. And other than after that, it would be a $100 per day fine for any thing that wasn't complied after the 60 days.
Okay. I was trying to keep up. The numbers
sorry.
were bouncing all over. So tell me again what remains in violation.
Remains of 105.1. That's the permit. 94-302A-3, 78-6, 82-144, and 22-32A.
So 94-302A4 and 94-315B1 are complied?
Yes, the complied are the 94-315B-1 and 94-302A-4.
Okay. And the city's recommendation is an additional 60 days to
Yes, sir.
bring the outstanding violations into compliance, and after that, daily fines of $100 per day until compliance is achieved.
Yes, sir.
All right, let me take a look at the,
Mr. Watkins, is the 82-144 for the BTR just a one-time $250 fine?
No, ma'am.
It's not.
No, ma'am. The business tax receipt is because they're a new business, and he put all the information in. The city was a little slow on inputting everything, so by the time that it came up was for the inspections, and that I received yesterday. So
Okay, I understand.
all right, let me hear from the respondent. Yes, sir, if you could tell me your name and address, then you can tell me about the case.
My name's Brian Virgin. I'm the owner of Palm Beach Trailer, property 5305 Broadway. Most of the violations we're dealing with, we had break-in when we took occupancy of the property. So we had to do whatever measures were, I guess, valid in our case to protect the property that we had. The door is broken into on the front entry. That's why it's been barricaded with hurricane shutters to prevent future break-ins, as well as a secure alarm system was being installed at the time of occupancy. The gate that was there was a safety hazard and a security hazard, so we replaced it with a like while we're going through the process of trying to get a survey of the property, licensed contractors to pull the permits for us. Unfortunately, we've enlisted a lot of services, of which have come to no fruition until recently. So we have an engineering firm who's doing the restructure for the garage door to get the engineering drawings done. And then we have the doors that were already placed on order previous to this to try to expedite the process to bring it up to code. The business license, we've been in Palm Beach County for over 10 years. We had to transfer the business license to the new address, certificate of use. At this point, yes, we're waiting for the survey and the permits to then be pulled for the door and the fence repairs, and then a fire inspection.
Okay, do you think the 60 days the city's recommending will be enough time to get this?
That's our best. I mean, from what I understand from the engineering, they're trying to expedite the process as quick as possible. We're still hopefully trying to use some of their connections for the survey to be expedited as well. Most of the companies we've reached out to had said several months before they can even survey the property.
All right, I mean, it sounds to me like you're taking good faith efforts to bring this into compliance. I'm I'm inclined actually to give you more like 90 days.
That's appreciated.
But I would accept the city's recommendation on the daily fines if the violations are not cured within that period of time. Is there anything else you'd like to tell me, sir?
This is the owner of the property.
Yes, sir. Of course, go ahead. Tell me your name and address, and then you can tell me about the case.
My name is Stanley Narkier. I
Yes, sir.
am the president of the company that it owns the property in question. And I have owned this property, got to be more than 30 years. And it has always been my intent and desire to improve the neighborhood up there. With regard to the current violations, I first of all wanted to say that the city has been very cooperative and handled this matter very professionally. My tenant, I sincerely believe, is trying to make a good faith effort to beautify the property and improvement, which we all appreciate. But having owned the property for over 30 years, during which time, to my recollection, there has never been a finding of a violation at a hearing. There haven't been code violations that have always been resolved. I would like, if possible, to avoid what I personally see as a stigma against me and my property if there is a formal finding of a violation and imposition of a potential fine. In addition, I share what seems to be some of the reasonable concerns that Your Honor has about time. We're in crazy times, and the 60 days certainly would be possible. You recognized very graciously 90 days, more appropriate. But the times are so crazy, coupled with the stigma that I would like to avoid, I have a request. And the request is, if possible, I would prefer that rather than being a formal finding of a violation and imposition of a fine, that if it's somehow possible to pass this matter for 90 days, and hopefully everything will get resolved and it can be dismissed, if you will. That's my request. I understand that it's in Your Honor's hands, and we're certainly happy with whatever decision you reach.
All right, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I mean, the city has brought the case, so let me go back to the city and let the city respond to
Magistrate, the city wouldn't have any objections to additional time, but as far as continuing this goes, the city strenuously objects to continuing it further. I think it's important that the finding of fact be on record, just like it would be with any other property owner, despite the stigma that he's concerned about. Additionally, I would set a dangerous precedent for anyone that doesn't want the stigma of having had a case on their property and ridiculously tie up magistrate hearings for the foreseeable future with all the cases that come before the magistrate, get continued, and have to get heard again. So, okay with time, definitely objecting to continuance.
I hear the city's position. I hear the respondent's position. Is there anything further that you folks would like to tell me?
No, Your Honor.
The city has brought the case, and then I will rule on it. There is proper notice. Respondent is present. I am going to make a finding, though, that the property remains in violation as cited, with the exception of City Code Sections 94302A4 and 94315B1, which are complied. I am going to allow the 90 days to comply, and thereafter there would be daily fines of $100 per day until compliance is achieved. Now, if you're getting close to that 90 days and it still looks like you need more time, please reach out to the city and make a request. If it comes back to me and I see that there's continued good faith forward progress, but things have gotten slowed down for reasons reasonably beyond your control, I would be happy to entertain a request to extend that time based on that. So I would urge you to do that. All right, thank you very much.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Going back to matter number 27, case number CE 21030372, case address 315 Marlborough Road.
Good morning, Sonia Ben, City of.
Good morning. Yeah, go ahead and,
Rachel, come with me. We actually have a whole written statement that we want you to read.
pardon?
We have a written statement that we want you to read, not
Okay,
just
let me hear from the city first, and then I'll come right back over to you folks, as I indicated when I opened the hearing.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
City, Sonia Ben, City of West Palm Beach, Code Enforcement. This property was cited on March 17, 2021, and the notice of violation was posted on April. Hold on. Let me verify the posted. Hold on for me.
Okay.
I'm verifying the posted date, I'm sorry. The certified mail was sent on March 18, 2021. This property was cited for code 18106A. Okay, I'm sorry. The property was posted on April 1st, 2021. Certified mail was sent on March 18, 2021. This property was cited for code 18106A, 18106K, 18106M, 7862, 7894C, and 9471C. I have made several contacts with the property owner pertaining to all codes violation. However, after speaking to the property owner, they have some objections to the violation of the landscape and the swale, as well as items that consider outdoor storage. The property was cited for outdoor storage, which includes a combination of items such as pottery pot, recycling bin, plastic containers, possible hose wheel, also a child's playhouse, which consists of items that's stored on the toy house, including any items, household items as well. As of May 3rd, 2021, the property is still in violation of Code 7471C, 18106A, 18106K, 18106M, and 7894C. At this time, Code 7862 is complied. The city is requesting an additional 30 days to gain compliance, or $100 per day until compliance is achieved.
Did you say 30 days?
30 days, yes. As of yesterday, the property owner also stated that some of the code violation is complied. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to re-inspect after May 3rd.
Tell me a little more about the clean and sanitary, the 18106A. What are we talking about?
Okay. The property had mulch on the property, as well as the landscape that need to be cleaned with dead vegetation in the soil.
All right, let me hear from the respondent.
We have a presentation, Your Honor. My wife will approach. My name's Noble Parsons. With me.
Has the city seen these photographs?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
With me is my wife, Yin-Chu Shang. I want you to take a look at the picture on top first. That's our home. This is not a situation where we have police reporting, where we have dead plants in the front yard. This is our home. We're right in the middle of a renovation. That's the context. In front of the house, you see there's 6-foot hedge with azora, enjoyed by the local bees, butterflies. Our yard is always full of butterflies. You see green grass on the ground. You see a vegetable garden, which we've installed for food to eat, but mostly to teach our child about the life cycle. We have watermelon, we have cucumber, we have snow peas. Vegetables fade in and out. So we will be replacing that garden, periodically with seeds. There's going to be periods where it will be growing bare. The fourth thing I would is the swale, and I'm going to really start with the swale. The swale is a wildflower meadow. I learned about wildflower meadows by looking at the Cooperative Extension website. They tell you how to install a wildflower meadow and the benefits. The benefits have to do with for local wildlife, for pollinators. I want you to take a look at it, Your Honor, or excuse me, Magistrate. On page 2 of my presentation, this is not our yard. This is what partially inspired me to put in this wildflower meadow. It's a Society for Arts garden, public garden, maintained by professional staff. You'll see this plant, which is not labeled. I'm not really sure what it is. These things naturally flower between about 6 inches and 12 inches. We're being cited, I refer you to page 3, which shows a picture of our property, the swale, as it looks today. It's not great resolution. What you'll see is there's literally hundreds of flowers on there, filled with dozens at any given time, bees, scores of butterflies. This is done, like I said, inspiration, Florida Cooperative Extension, inspiration, Department of Office of Sustainability, talking about cutting down on watering and fertilizer, doing things for the wildlife. This is not overgrown. This is, but the most importantly is a legal matter. It doesn't violate the statute. I want you, or the ordinance, I want you to look closely at City Ordinance 7894C. Swales and parkways shall be sodded or seeded by adjacent real property owner or occupant with grass, one choice. The grass can't be more than six inches, fine. But the 6 inches doesn't modify the next sentence or what comes after the comma, or with suitable landscaping materials in accordance with applicable city ordinances and policies such as the Office of Sustainability. What we have is a suitable landscaping material, a wildflower meadow. It's allowed to be under 6 foot. There's nothing there that says it can't. It's allowed to be, more than 6 inches. There's nothing there that says it can't be. If we top these off at 6 inches, the flowers aren't going to be growing there. Alternatives, yes, we could tear this out and put in St. Augustine grass, which benefits no one. We could put in we could put in a bunch of mulch. We could put in AstroTurf. None of that's beneficial. But I'm making kind of moral arguments here. The legal argument is here. We're all on solid footing here. This doesn't have to be cut down to 6 inches. This is suitable landscaping materials, which does not need to be 6 inches or less, which makes common sense. Grass, yeah, it's overgrown at 6 inches. Flowers are not. There's some sort of argument about that the swale is somehow overgrown or patchy. We are experiencing a drought right now, so it gets woody. There's absolutely not a single piece of dead plant material in there. What you'll see some woody areas if you look at it closely. That is, I really should have brought the plant in. That is, the woody areas are attached to a living plant. I take some of those out, yes, and some are in. Such is life. If you're going to have a meadow, if you're going to have flowers, if you're going to have something that's genuinely beneficial, not just turf grass, you're going to have to put up with some brown spots. You're going to have to put up with occasional spotchiness. You're going to have to put up with something that's more than 6 inches tall. Nothing in the ordinance precludes this. Absolutely nothing. Point 2, the playhouse.
Before we move on to that, I had a clarification question. You provided this photograph, which shows the plants that are in your swale.
Society for Arts. That's not our yard.
Right, and that's my question.
This is something that is actually from a city across the bridge, maintained by their government and a private.
That's what I was asking. Where is this? This is
Society for Arts Garden. It's right where the elementary school is. I don't know if you've ever been there.
Okay.
They have the library, their public library is called the Society for Arts King's Library. Right across from there is a walled public garden. And they extensively use this in their yard. It's the same thing. It's the same height. It's the same thing. The difference, they have 20 people doing it. I'm one person doing it.
Okay.
And I think it looks good. I would encourage you to go over there. I'm shocked that that is being cited for a violation rather than being cited for this is what you should put on your swale. Here's where we want to encourage wildlife in this community. This is what we want to do. There's a path there. She's calling it dead plants. No, I put a mulch path so you can walk on it without walking on the flowers. My little boy is afraid he's going to get stung by a bee, which is silly, but the path is there for that too.
Okay, and thank you for clarifying that. You can continue.
So that's swale. Playhouse, not a storage unit. This isn't like a storage thing. It's something for my little boy to play with. Again, I see nothing in the ordinance saying that we can't have a playhouse in our front lawn. We're a homeowner. We have nice green grass. We're actually trying to benefit from the community. We're getting hauled in here because we have a playhouse for our 4-year-old kid. And we'll be fined $100 a day out of his mouth so he can have somewhere to play in the front yard? I don't think so. Garden box. We're being cited on the east side of this. There's pictures we received. I don't actually see them in the presentation about the garden box because it's bare. Yeah, it's bare because we're seeding it right now. What are we seeding it with? Ironically, this is in my report, 2 packets of Gallinaria, also called blanket flower. Where did we get that blanket flower? Office of Sustainability. They give out these seeds.
Here in the city?
Yes. What else are we putting in there? Milkweed. Why do we want milkweed in there? Monarch butterflies are going extinct. It's important to have milkweed in your yard, not just some bland turf grass, not just some bland St. Augustine grass. And it takes some time to grow. Again, this is about the life cycle. If we're talking about putting plants in your yard, you're going to have periods where you have brown spots. You're going to have periods where seed is going to grow. Is that something that we should not allow in our city? You can't grow things. We're going to be cited for that $100 a day. In conclusion, yes, there were some violations here. We had a visible garbage can. We had a number of things, and Ms. Binns didn't have a chance to see it. That stuff is all moved. I mean, I can swear up and down it is. There are some items around the side of the house that were there. I didn't honestly know. I didn't think it was visible from the street. She gives pictures, and I'm sure she stood on the street. She knows what she's doing. So, yeah,
Sir, I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you be in front of the microphone so we can pick you up?
Yes.
Thank you.
We agree that those were visible, but those are moved. We're in compliance with that now. I mean, in conclusion, I strongly object to any movement which would say we're not in compliance with the swale. We're in compliance with what the city has asked people to do with the swale, and it looks good. What are we in compliance with the playhouse? That's not. Why do you just keep calling it a storage? It's obviously not. It's a playhouse. You can look at it. There's nothing being stored in there except hopefully good times for my child. Can we grow seeds? Can we grow seeds? There's some pictures of bare land where we're trying to grow seeds. Yeah, sure, we can. There's absolutely nothing in the ordinance that says you can't grow milkweed and blanket flower or other wildflowers for seed, and that's exactly what we're doing. You're gonna, and if you need, if somehow that's illegal, well, you know, are you saying you can't have annuals? Those die out. You know, if the swale is unattended, I can tell you right now, it looks a lot better than what you have right here in the city hall with your pentas out front. Our pentas look a lot better. Yours are all woody. They're dying. But they're still in compliance with your code because they're alive. There's no dead vegetation on that swale. In no way have we violated any city code. So I'm arguing that we're in compliance 100% with everything. I would concede that there are pictures of, yes, things that are legitimately in the ordinance that are, you know, some construction materials. I was building a garden box and I leaned it up against the fence there. But it's gone now. Yeah, the garbage can, we hadn't really figured out how to hide it yet, so it was still there. You know, we got dinged on it, but it's moved, and it's going to stay moved. So we're not violating anything here, and it would be a real outrage, in my opinion, if we had to remove, which would take a lot of work, that swale. It took me over a year to do it. No, I didn't buy a single plant. Everything was from the ground there. I noticed this flower that I liked. I encouraged it. I would strip off the stuff, the weeds and stuff that were there, encourage it. Each month it would grow more and more, watered it, fertilized it. It's a wildflower meadow now. I have nothing further to add.
All right, thank you very much, sir. I have a couple questions for the city. Is the playhouse part of the alleged violation? Or is it other things like the trash can and the recycle bin and other things like that?
So the playhouse is part of the violation. There's no reason it couldn't be stored out of view or used out of view. It's certainly allowed to be there while it's being used, but the only purpose it's being used for in the case pictures is to store other stuff on it. So it's simply part of outdoor storage at that point.
I don't see how you see storage. I mean,
Sir, I did not interrupt you. Sir?
You didn't happen to capture my child
Objection,
playing.
magistrate. He was not interrupted.
Yeah, I interrupted him.
Hang on, I'm pulling up the code section. Trying to pull up the code section. It's not letting me pull up the code section. For some reason, Municode's not letting me pull up Chapter 94 at all. Hang on. Oh, here we go. All right. $94.71C. Outdoor storage in residential districts. Outdoor storage in residential districts for residential purposes shall be limited to domestic equipment and normal supplies necessary for residents.
Can I say one thing, Your Honor?
Storage shall not be permitted in any required or unrequired front setback nor required side setback.
Yes.
Storage shall be permitted in unrequired setbacks when completely screened by fence or landscaping.
Can I make an argument there, Your Honor?
Just give me
Playhouse isn't
just give me a
storage.
second now, sir. I'm
right.
trying to. Okay. I'm gonna go back. Here we go. My next question is, on 7894C on the swale issue, the code says swales and parkways shall be sodded or seeded by the adjacent real property owner or occupant with grass, which shall be maintained to a height not greater than 6 inches, or with other suitable landscape material in accordance with applicable city ordinances and policies. Is there an applicable city ordinance or policy that prohibits what's in the swale here?
Magistrate
So what is that?
94-442-E. Ground cover for swales must be approved by the city or be natural grass.
94-442.
There are several options that were outlined to the owner this morning that could be confirmed with the city arborist. This is not one of those options.
442. Landscape of public rights-of-way between street or sidewalk surfaces or private areas that serve as an extension of public space shall be planted with ground cover approved by the city or natural grass per the requirements of 94-445, parens 4, parens C. Grass areas shall be sodded. Planting of trees and shrubs within public rights-of-way is subject to the approval of the city. Okay, so has this been reviewed and/or approved by the city?
Negative. Nor would it be. There's a very short list of what the city approves for swale areas.
Would that go through the city arborist?
I'm sorry.
Would that go through Ray, the city arborist?
Well, like any major change to a property, including major landscape changes, permit requests would have to be submitted. And yes, Ray would be one of those that would be doing approval of permit requests for that, for landscape.
Okay.
Where they went astray was making this change without making the permit request first.
All right.
May I respond on a couple of these issues, Your Honor?
I'm absolutely going to let you respond. I'm still, let me ask the city, can you give me some more clear testimony on 18106K and M, which is the landscape maintenance that was cited? What are we talking about there?
What is the code? 18106K?
18106 M and K.
M and K?
Yeah, K is lack of landscape maintenance, cut, trim, landscape and maintain, and then M is missing grass at the front of the property, replace grass to the entire yard and maintain in a neat and healthy appearance.
Correct. Based on the city, the property is supposed to have a certain percentage of ground covering on the property. So initially, when I inspected the property only had 3 of the garden ducks in the front, and they also have some form of covering that's killed the sod on this property. So that's the reason why the 18106M and also 18106, which also to address the swale as well. So in the reinspection photos, if you notice what they actually added, some sod, and there are some areas that was covered with pottery pots as well, and areas that's missing sod. So after I spoke to the property owner, they are going to, they stated that they removed the plastic containers there and will sod the rest of the area.
You know, I understand the plastic container, so the existence of the garden is not being alleged to be a violation?
No.
Okay. No, you're right, and I think that there was some new state law last year that specifically allows that use on residential property. Okay. So, all right, and I'm sorry to be jumping around. So back to the playhouse. In the city's position, what needs to happen for the playhouse to be in compliance from the city's perspective?
The city is asking for the playhouse and also the items that is stored on the playhouse, which is... let's break this into parts. Let's just, for the sake of my question, let's just assume it's just the playhouse and there's nothing on it.
I guess the question would be, is it in the setback, and if so, does it have to be moved, and if not, what has to happen for it to be in compliance?
It would have to be removed.
Is it in this, it seemed like the code did not allow it to be in the setback. Is it in the required
Correct.
setback? So it has to be moved out of the required setback and then
Correct.
screened from view from the front of
Correct.
the house? Okay. All right, let me come back to the respondent. So you've heard the questions I've asked the city, what their answers were. Give you a chance to address.
The playhouse is simple. I mean, it's just an appeal to ordinary language. No one calls a playhouse storage. They're different items. Storage is a shed. Shed, you buy them. They're labeled storage shed. When we went out to get this, the people were calling it a playhouse. You can look at it. It's a playhouse. It looks like a little house. It's got a red door. It's got a fun roof on it. We got a little chair next to it. You can try to jam the word storage on top of this all you want. It doesn't make it storage. No one calls that a storage shed. You call it a playhouse. It's different. It's not covered by that statute. I really shouldn't have to be arguing that. I mean, I'm a taxpaying part of the city. It's clearly no person, unless they just wanted to win, would call that storage. You call that a playhouse. Everyone knows what that is. The swale. I'm honestly a little surprised by this. You have to get things approved by the city. I didn't read that in ordinance, and I don't agree. This isn't something, again, this is something that I encouraged that was growing there naturally. It's not a weed. It's beneficial. The city has indirectly encouraged me to do things like this, and it says right, in, for instance, 7894C, applicable city ordinances and policies, and these ordinances repeatedly refer to and policies. And most of these ordinances have to do, when they talk about these things, they're talking about, let me look at 18106, landscapes shall include but not be limited to grass, ground covers, bushes, shrubs, hedges, or similar plantings. 18106L
Sir,
says
could you
nothing
move
about
back?
getting this approved by the city.
Sir, could you move back to the microphone so we can pick up what you're saying?
Yes, I'm saying that Section 18106L, landscapes shall include but not be limited to grass, ground covers, bushes, shrubs, hedges, or similar plantings. It says nothing about getting this approved in the city. The city can have a list all they want. This stuff naturally grew there. I encouraged it to grow there. The St. Augustine grass that was put in by the prior owner was dying because of the city's tree. The city put in has had for years an olive tree. What road passes right next to my property? About a half block away, Olive Street. If you go down, I encourage you to drive down Olive Street. Olive Street used to be lined with black olive trees. It is not now. Most of it is illegal cut downs where people have put in palm trees. Why did they do this? Because it's really hard to have St. Augustine grass in your swale when you have a black olive tree. The black olive tree leaches the nutrients. It's very shady, and it sheds incredible amount of leaves, which then comes down and kills the St. Augustine grass. The only way you can keep it off is really if you have a high-powered, maybe a gas-powered leaf blower, which we think should be illegal, and we don't use. So we think that you should rule that the swale is compliant. And that everything that we've done in the grand scheme of things is compliant. I think it's a little ridiculous that we're being, I'm not casting aspersions on Ms. Bittens. She's doing her job and she did it well. She took pictures. She's diligent. She talked to us about it. I don't object to what she did. I just am asking, now we have a referee, we have a magistrate, to just impose some common sense here. This is not a property that needs to be fined. And it's not a property where I need to go out there on a weekend and rip this thing out and spend a lot of money buying St. Augustine grass, which I know is going to fail long after this hearing is over.
All right, thank you. Let me come back. I have another question. So if somebody, if If it wasn't this playhouse, let's say it was a couple of Adirondack chairs with a little end table where somebody wanted to sit, is that from?
If it were
I'm trying to
outdoor-
get clarification on the issue with the playhouse.
If it were, based on your question, if it were outdoor furniture, a patio table and chairs, that would not be a violation. It's intended for outdoors. It's intended to be used outdoors. Now, if it were, somebody took their living room couch or an easy chair from the living room, put it outside,
Clearly.
then it would
I
be
get
outdoor
that.
storage.
But so, I mean, the playhouse is intended to be, seems to me, outside. So I'm trying to, what about like a swing set? I'm trying to get clear in my head what the issue is with the playhouse.
I believe a swing set in the front yard would probably be considered a violation also, but the playhouse isn't something required to be in a front yard, and it's for intended use, period. This isn't an accessory clubhouse type structure. This is a toy being stored outside. And from what I remember of my kids growing up, I believe it's considered designed for indoor or outdoor use. But again, many toys are. You just don't store them out in the front.
Is it in the front yard or is it in the side yard?
The side setback.
And does it matter?
It doesn't really matter as far as that code goes. The side setback would be part of the outdoor storage area, unless, of course, it were screened from view.
Okay.
Bottom line is storage is what would be in view. If it can't be seen from the sidewalk, it couldn't be cited for outdoor storage.
It's not storage. It's just not storage.
All right, is there anything else in terms of further testimony from the city? You've been answering my questions, but...
Yes, sir, just in response to some of their comments. We laud their passion for the environment. We always do. The Office of Sustainability certainly gives out seeds, but they don't give out instructions saying this is for the swale. There are city codes that specify what ground cover can be in different places, including swales, parkways, right-of-ways in general, because they may be responsible for maintaining it, but it's still city property. Bottom line, as I said, 94-442E is very specific as to what has to happen. I'm sorry that they're not aware that they needed a permit for such a major change, but as the magistrate knows, that is a requirement.
All right, anything else? All right, then let me come back to the respondent for your final comments.
Yeah, on the swale, I mean, you know, what we're being asked is to maintain it and chopped it down. In no way did they ask us to remove it. Now they're asking us to remove it because we made an argument at the hearing. My argument coming in here is chopping it down less than 6 inches is going to just deadhead all the flowers, and it's not for the use. It's the ordinance doesn't say you have to be less than 6 inches. They're coming with this other thing that wasn't cited in anything that we have to have notice on this. This wasn't cited. They said that they wanted us to chop this down under 6 inches. We're saying this is legitimately there. There's in no way, shape, or form did I have some notice that this is not a city-approved thing. It doesn't say that in any of the communications they gave us.
Okay.
And again, if it's not, it should be now. This is not, again, something that I worked on. It's not something that I bought. This is something that was there. I encouraged what many people might have thought was a weed to take over the swale. So I helped nature along. I didn't go out to Home Depot and buy it. I didn't rip anything else out. You know, we need to have proper notice of the arguments that are going to be made. They're throwing out some other argument, which is now going to make me take a heck of a lot of work and money and effort to replace that whole swale. That's going to take a lot of time and effort to rip that stuff out.
Well, hang on, you guys can't just keep throwing paper in front of me. This is, I need to know if the city has seen this. Mr. Posner, can you, and please just stop walking up at your convenience.
Rachel, come back here, please.
Oh, that's the email that I sent.
Okay.
No objection.
All right, let's see what we have. I mean, you guys are throwing stuff at me. I'm trying to read the code. I'm trying to listen. I can't, you know, I have one brain, one set of eyes, and one set of ears, and
Now they change the story.
so let me take a look at, this is a one-page email dated May.
Yeah, and if we're going
4th,
to, and
2021.
Your Honor, I'd like to make one more argument, but we're going to start
Give me a
including
minute
something
to look
that's-
at the document that
Okay.
you guys just gave me, okay?
right.
Again, I can't listen to you and read this and look at pictures and review the code all at the same time. I'm good, but I'm not that good. All right.
Yes.
I have reviewed this one-page email that will be made part of the record as well. All right.
So,
Go
Your
ahead,
Honor, what
sir.
we had notice for is landscape. This swale is overgrown, cut, trim, and maintain below 6 inches at all times. Does not say that we have to remove it, you know. Our argument here is that to properly maintain it, it's got to be over 6 inches tall, and it complies with the ordinance that I cited, which is landscaping can be taller. If there is some other law involved, which I was not able to review and did not have notice for, then I'll make an argument on that. The argument is this. When the government's is going to limit the free expression of its citizens here through gardening, I'm trying to make a point here. I'm not only trying to encourage wildlife, but I'm trying to make a public point about how I think this city should go, how I think that we should be encouraging wildlife. So I have a First Amendment right to have this. The burden should go back to the party here from the city to argue why they have a compelling government interest to forbid this obviously native growing in the swale plant. They have a compelling government interest to have me rip it out. This is not just a landscaping issue. As I've argued, and you can see in my memo, this is a larger issue about my ethical obligations to my fellow citizens, about my political stance on what you should be doing in your yard. So just simply citing, Matt, we didn't pre-approve this, and technically, even though everyone else in the city, frankly, is putting whatever they want in the swale, that we're gonna now make you rip it out, is, you gotta let me finish. It violates my First Amendment rights. Unless they can argue there's a really compelling government interest. Is this somehow vastly inferior to what? AstroTurf I could probably put out there. St. Augustine grass I could definitely put out there.
I'd strongly recommend you don't put AstroTurf out front. I will see you again, and I don't want it to be under those circumstances. We see too many AstroTurf cases. But go ahead and give me your final comments, sir.
You know, St. Augustine grass out on that swale is really no different than AstroTurf. It adds nothing to the environment. It does nothing for anyone other than cover the ground and keep the dirt from blowing around. So, Your Honor, we maintain we have no notice of this removal of the swale issue. We're on compliance with that. We're in compliance with the playhouse. It is not storage. No one uses the word storage when they talk about a playhouse. Something you play with. I guess they're abandoning some issues about the ground, you know. And I'll also argue, you know, I am, yes, frankly, planning to remove those pots, but I don't even see how that violates the code. I don't see that there's anything against that. I moved those pots in there because putting in a lawn, I really wanted to water it a lot. And I said, well, let me put these pots in there so they can get some of the benefits of the water, make a little nursery in there. I don't think that's against city code either. But yes, I'm going to fix that.
All right. Housekeeping, I do find that there is proper notice. In this case, respondents are present, and the city has the proper notice documents in its file. I appreciate all the testimony. I appreciate the documents you've provided, and I appreciate your passion. And I didn't think this would be my hardest case of the day. In terms of the violations that have been alleged, 78-6-2, the numbering, that has complied pursuant to the testimony of the city. Based on the testimony and the evidence that I've heard, I am not going to find the property in violation of 18106A, clean and sanitary. I mean, typically, clean and sanitary, this is not that in my view. So I am not going to find a violation of 18106A. In terms of, there is a violation of 9471C, the outdoor storage. I mean, there's empty pots stacked up, as the respondent himself acknowledged, the trash can, there's some frameworks, things beside that playhouse. And I understand that your testimony was that that's already been taken care of. The city needs to come out and inspect it and put eyes on it and verify that. So if that's already complied, great. They just need to come out. And then the code officer herself acknowledged, I think that you told her that that was in compliance and she did not have an opportunity to come out and inspect it before today. So that sounds like, in terms of those things, it should comply itself. I understand your argument about the playhouse based on the code in terms of location in the setback. I think you have to either move it, I think you have to move it and screen it for it to be in compliance. So I will make that finding based on the testimony and the code sections that I reviewed. So that is, and again, I appreciate the argument about the swale, but based on the code section, you know, the way that this is written, hang on. You know, the applicable language is it has to be either the grass or other suitable landscaping in accordance with applicable city ordinances and policies. And city ordinance 94-442E requires alternative swale landscaping to be approved by the city. I haven't heard any testimony that it's been approved by the city. I would, you know, I understand Mr. Posner testified it would not be, but that needs to go through the city arborist. Whether it's approved or not, let me ask the city, how long does it take to process that type of a request? Is that if that is applied for this week, is that a 30-day turnaround, or is that going to take more time for them to, again, whatever the result is, it is, but I'm asking about the process to get it.
We think that it would be approximately 30 days.
30 days?
At most.
At most.
And just out of an abundance of caution, I'm going to extend that. I'm going to give a little more time than the 30 days. But I do find property is also in violation of 7894C because the landscaping that's in the swale has not been approved by the city pursuant to 94-442E, which the code requires. To the extent that that there is missing sod in the front yard that is outside of the garden, that would need to be replaced as well. But you're absolutely allowed to have the garden where it is.
How do I apply to have this swale approved by the city?
That's a good question. Let me go over to either Mr. Posner or Ms. Frankenary. Can you guys?
Permits can be applied for right across the hall.
Pardon?
Right across the hall, City Hall, you can apply for permits, or you can go to the city's website and development services where I'll find permit applications.
All right. And then to the extent that the landscape maintenance is tied either to the swale or to the areas outside the garden, I will find 18106K and N in violation as well. So I am going to find the property to be in violation as cited, except it's complied with 7862, and I'm not finding a violation of 18106A, clean and sanitary. I'm going to allow 60 days because I want there to be plenty of time to get this thing through the request for the city to approve it, and then if it's not approved, you're going to have to do whatever needs to be done to bring it into compliance. So I'm going to give you 60 days.
Magistrate,
Yeah.
if you're going to give 60 days on that, can we request a split order so it's 30 days for the rest?
No, I'm just going to do 60 days for the whole thing. I don't think that's unreasonable in this case. And then I will accept the city's recommendation for daily fines of $100 per day if compliance is not achieved within the 60 days. And I'll tell you the same thing I told the folks before you. If you're getting close to the 60 days and you're making good faith efforts to get this through the system and you're not able to, ask for an opportunity to request more time. And if it comes back before me and I see good faith effort, I would be happy to consider that request. So that is my order, and I thank everybody for your time on this one.
Thank you.
Okay, Chef, thank you.
Did you get all that? Okay. Yeah.
Matter number 28, CE 21030498, case address 2800 Georgia Avenue, Unit G41.
I'm tired. Sonny Bin, City of West Palm Beach, Code Enforcement. This property was cited on March 24th. Notice of violation was posted on March 30th. Certified mail was sent on March 25th. This property was cited for 18103G, 18162A, 18103B, 2232A, 82144. I have not made contact with the property owner. Today I do have the tenant that's currently residing at the property. To date, the property is still in all code violation previously stated. The city is requesting additional 60 days to gain compliance of code 18103G and 18103B, an additional 10 days to gain a current rental license and also COU, or $100 per day until compliance is achieved. I do have the tenant that would like to testify pertaining to the condition of the property.
All right, let me make sure I got your recommendation correct. So it's on the plumbing and the repair of the roof, walls, and foundation, 30 days or $100 a day on this.
60 days or $100 a day, yes. 60 days or $100 per day.
Then on the rental license and certificate of use, 10 days or $100 per day.
Correct.
And the business tax receipt, are you asking for a one-time $250?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let me hear from your witness. Good morning, ma'am. Go ahead and tell me your name and address, and then you can tell me about the case.
My name's Nerzaline Pompolis. The address is 2800 Georgia Avenue,
Yes, ma'am.
apartment G41. This has been going on since December, and I've reached out to them. They have not tried to do anything about it. The last time I spoke to the management team, they told me that the maintenance guy quit, and that following Monday, there was gonna be somebody else that was gonna come out and fix it. But still to this day, no one ever showed up. I've called them. The man in the office, his name is Jason, and he hung the phone up in my face. That's the last time I've spoken to them. And this was February 12th, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, ma'am. Did the city have any additional witnesses?
I do. For the record, the property owner owns probably over 40 or 50 units within this condominium. I think probably a month or two ago, I also cited for rental license, delinquent BTR. And he also owns this property as well, and has additional violation as well as delinquent BTR and COU as well.
Or is there anybody here on behalf of the respondent in this case? All right, there is not, but the city has proper notice with the certified mail and the posting. Anything else?
No.
All right, then I do find, based on the testimony and the evidence, that the property remains in violation as cited. I'm going to accept the city's recommendation in this case. I'm going to impose a one-time $250 fine for the violation of Code Section 82144. I'm going to allow an additional 10 days to comply with violations of Code Sections 18162A and 2232A. If compliance is not achieved within that time frame, daily fines of $100 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved. I'm going to allow an additional 60 days for compliance with the violations of Code Sections 18103G and 18103B. If compliance is not achieved within that time frame, daily fines of $100 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming in, ma'am.
Matter number 36, case number CE 2103-0432, case address 809 6th Street.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Officer Phil Cartwright, City of West Palm Beach Code Enforcement. The property at 809 6th Street was originally cited on March 19th of 2021 for repair of roof, walls, and foundation, repair of interior walls and floors, repair or replacement of external doors and windows. Service was achieved by certified mail. The property was posted on March 19th, 2021, as well as City Hall. All violations are still current. I have had contact with a representative who basically is in charge of the property right now, which is here today. The city is asking that the property come into compliance within 145 days or $100 per day thereafter.
I'm not going to ask how you came up with 145. That's a unique number.
Basically what the plan is there is going to be some massive reconstruction done to the building, also with landscaping. They are going to be getting in contact with the police department to make sure that they've got the proper trespass signs all around the property, as well as putting a constructional fence around the property to secure it for the loitering issue that they have, as well as the major construction that's going to be going on.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Cartwright. Let me hear from the respondent's representative. Go ahead and tell me your name and how you're affiliated with the property, ma'am, and then you can tell me about the case.
Okay, my name is Carol Brunner, and I'm from Integrated or Justina Court Apartments LLC. We are currently, our interest in the property right now is we're currently under contract. So our contract is dated 4/22, and we have a 30-day contract, so we should be closed by the end of this month. So my conversation with Mr. Cartwright is that we need to take this as a step-by-step process, because this property has been a nuisance to the city since 2010, actually. And we're going to take this property back into reconstruction. So that's what we do. We take these properties from zero to hero kind of thing. So our first step is to file for our permits. We need roof, exterior, at least, and plumbing and electrical. And we're going to go ahead and construct a fence because there is a nuisance with trespassing and loitering, because I can't even go to the property. That's why we said, okay, I mean, this is gonna be like a 7-month process. However, step by step in the beginning, we're gonna try to do the cleanup as best as we can. We need to mitigate all these fines and violations as well, so we take it step by step. So we're, within the first 145 days, we should have our permits, but that's after this month, so starting. We should have our permits, we should have the fence, we should have a cleanup, and then we'd have another timeline of when things and materials are gonna start coming into the property. I know that you're probably going to say, well, what if you don't close? Or what if something happens? So you might want to make that kind of, my recommendation is that I, again, will keep in touch with the city and have him keep tabs on my contract and where we are in that. I mean, we do have full plans. We're not making really any changes to the property. We're just reconstructing. So that's where we are.
All right, well, I have no objection to the city's recommendation, and it sounds like you're in agreement with it as well.
Well, yeah, the only trepidation I have is twofold. Number one, we want to start when our contract is solidified and we close. So I will give him our closing documents and he can start his clock. And then secondarily, I am being very trepidatious about future fines because I still have to deal with, since 2010, this property has been neglected. So I have to deal with mitigating and making sure that no new fines come on the property. So, I mean, I do this all the time, so it's not that I'm new at this rodeo. So,
Special Magistrate, I think her major concern was just the amount of time
yeah.
that she would be allowed to do what they were actually getting ready to do as far as the permits and everything else.
And I have no problem with time because I would keep a running timeline with Mr. Cartwright as well. So,
Okay, and let me ask, in terms of the code enforcement case, once this has active building permits and it's under the building code, does that take it out of code enforcement, or are you looking for the whole thing to be completely fixed?
Just basically to remedy the violations that she was actually cited for.
Right.
Between that time, within the 145 days of those things are corrected, then the code enforcement issues basically go away.
So they would need to not only be permitted, but also the work inspected and...
That is correct. Yes, sir.
and that's where I'm
Right.
having a little problem because I know I could get a roof on there, no problem. Windows are going to take 10 to 12 weeks.
If
I
she-
will have
yeah.
permit, but I'm not going to be able to have the actual material.
If her concern is looking for more time, I don't have an objection with that. This particular property has been a nuisance for the town, the city for a while, so we're just looking to actually get it rectified and looking better than what it is.
Okay. There is proper notice in this case with the certified mail and the posting. Respondent is represented at the hearing. Based on the testimony and the evidence, property is in violation as cited. I'm going to do 180 days on this for compliance, since we're talking about not only getting the permits issued, but getting the work done.
Okay.
And then there would be daily fines of $100 per day until compliance is achieved. I would look forward to seeing
Me back.
this after the work is done. I'm sure it'll
Yeah, it's going to be,
be one of those amazing before and afters, hopefully.
yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem, thank you. Mhm. Thank you. All right. Thank you. May we dismiss? Yes?
You're all set.
Okay, thank you.
Matter number 17. Case number CE 21030459, case address 2117 North Cameron Avenue.
Good morning, Cassandra St. Hilaire, Code Enforcement Officer with the City of West Palm Beach. This property was cited March 22nd. Property was posted on March 24th, but the tenant took the notice of violation off. Certified mail was received on March 26th. I've made contact with the tenant and made contact with the property manager this morning, Janice. The property was cited for 944462, 18162A, 2232A, and 94482A. At this time, the city is recommending 30 days for code sections 18162A and 2232A, or $200 a day until compliance is achieved. And for the remaining violations, 10 days or $25 a day until compliance is achieved.
10 days or how much?
$25.
25?
Yeah.
All right. Yes, ma'am, go ahead and tell me your name and address, and then you can tell me about the case.
Janice Cribbs. And the address is 2117 North Tamarind Avenue.
And what is your affiliation with the land trust? Or with the
Recently, the property manager.
Okay,
So
thank you,
I'm
ma'am.
learning.
Go ahead.
I'm just requesting 60 days to try and rectify these issues. As we speak, we are working on doing the front lawn. We have spoken to the tenants about not parking on the lawn. Currently, we have a pending eviction case, but we can't do anything until after the 30th of June because of the moratorium.
Do you have a court date on the eviction case?
No, sir. I filed the packet the 26th of April.
Okay.
And I do have copies of the served documents showing that they were served. The tenant didn't receive them. The officer just had to leave them on the ground.
Okay.
From what I understand, she even accused her and I of working together. This is my first time ever seeing her.
Understood.
So we just have an unruly tenant that we're trying to get out of the building, and we just need more time until we can get past the moratorium.
Okay.
And as far as the rental license violation in the COU, I applied for that yesterday. They told me if you come in person that they go ahead and do it. So I applied for it, I paid for it. However, I'm just waiting for the approval. I don't know how long that takes, so.
All right, let me, I mean, the 94-482A, you just have to remove the vehicles from the unpaved surfaces. What needs to happen to cure 94-446-2, the landscape maintenance?
Well, as you can see, like most of the grass, the landscape that was there is all bare dirt now because of the vehicles constantly parking there. And you can see even the trail, everything's gone. So they would have to, I know she said they purchased some sod that they're trying to put down. It's just them trying to see how, if it would last. But as I stated in the code 94-462, it does mention that you would either add in sprinklers, water it, fertilize. It gives you a whole list of items that you have to do to make sure that that grass stays healthy and it is maintained in a neat appearance. So it can't just be put down and then left if it's gonna die again.
What's the city's position on the request for the additional time?
I don't mind the additional time, but I think for the parking, I don't see why we have to give additional time to continuously park on the grass when, it's just not allowed.
Anything else, ma'am?
We have addressed the parking. We sent emails to the tenant, and she knows that as of yesterday, we have dug up the yard, preparing for the grass. But the only issue that we have with the grass and the watering, the tenants don't want to pay to support the sprinkler system. So I'm not sure how we're going to keep the grass alive, even if we put new grass, because we have no other way, even if we did because we don't have a problem installing a sprinkler system. But maybe the city needs to put different ports where owners can tap into and set up accounts and use water to water when the tenant doesn't want to pay because it's kind of expensive for the water. So we don't know how to remedy that.
Well, I don't have a great answer for you. I'm willing to give you the 60 days. That gives you 2 months to come up with.
It'll give me time to get with, I guess, someone in the city to address that issue because it's not only an issue for us, but I've seen other properties that have, the dead grass probably due to the watering.
All right. Here's what I'm going to do in this case. First, there is proper notice. The respondent is represented, and the city has the posting and the certified mail documentation in its file. Based on the evidence and the testimony, I do find the property remains in violation as cited. All right, this is going to be all kinds of bifurcated. I'm going to require compliance with the parking, 94-482A within 10 days. If that's not complied within 10 days, I will assess daily fines of $25 a day until compliance is achieved. For the other violations, I will allow 60 days to comply, and the rental license and certificate of use will be the daily fines of $200 per day, but the landscape maintenance will only be another $25 a day if compliance isn't achieved. So it's for 94-446-2 is 60 days and $25 a day. 18-162A and 22-32A is 60 days, but $200 a day. And 94-482A is 10 days and $25 a day. Got it? Okay.
And what was the 94-446? How many days?
60 days. I'm giving you 60 days on that as you requested.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am? Okay. Am I finished? Okay, thank you.
Matter number 70, case number CE21030488, case address 910 32nd Street.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning. Ray Leung, City, West Palm Beach Code Compliance. 910 32nd Street was initially cited on 3/23 of 21 with a notice of violation posted at the property and City Hall on 3/24 of 21. Certified mail was sent the same day, 3/24 of 21. Property was cited for 78-6, 18103J, and 34102B. Contact has been made with the owner, who's present here today, and he did comply with the 78-6, the address characters. The owner also stated that the 18103J exterior paint is in compliance. An inspection just needs to take place. The same goes for 34102B. Therefore, Special Magistrate, the city requests an additional 15 days to come into compliance, or $100 per day until compliance is achieved.
Okay, thank you. Let me hear from the respondent. Yes, sir. If you could tell me your name and address, and then you can tell me about the case.
Yes, my name is Cecil Goring. Address is 1201 Southwest 63rd Avenue, Plantation. This
Sir,
property,
what is your relationship to the listed owner?
I'm the owner and trustee of the property.
Thank you.
This property is tenant occupied. I spoke to him, and these issues, the issue with the car, he told me he moved the car. I will go by and check that today. Painting was done, so 15 days should be enough to.
Okay,
complete
great.
the
So
rest.
you got the work done. It just needs to be inspected then?
Yes.
Okay, then I will find proper notice in this case. Respondent is present. The city has the appropriate notice documents in its file. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find the property remains in violation of City Code Sections 18103J and 34102B, but has complied with 78-6. It sounds like the work has been done on everything, just needs to be inspected. So I will accept the city's recommendation as agreed to by the respondent for an additional 15 days to get the inspections, to get the property into compliance. Thereafter, daily fines of $100 per day would be assessed if compliance is not achieved within that period of time. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't believe we have any more respondents present. Matter number 4, case number CE21030593, case address 5500 Parker Avenue.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Richard Pazmino, Code Enforcement Officer, City West Palm Beach. This property was cited on March 30th, 2021. Certified mail was sent March 31st, and the property and City Hall were posted April 14th. This property was cited for exterior paint, landscape maintenance, prohibited vehicle, and outdoor storage. There was a one of those shipping storage containers, pack rat, that was being parked on the driveway for months. I've had no contact with the owner of the property. As of yesterday, the pod has been removed. So code sections 18106G and 94446-2 remain. The city's recommending 45 additional days or a fine of $100 a day until compliance is achieved.
Tell me again how much?
45 days or $100 a day.
45 and 100, and that is for the painting and the landscape.
The landscape,
maintenance.
yes.
All right. I do find proper notice with the certified mail and the posting. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find the property remains in violation of City Code Sections 18106G and 94446-2, but has complied with 94487B1 and 9471C. I'll accept the city's recommendation, allow an additional 45 days for compliance with the outstanding violations. Thereafter, daily fines of $100 per day until compliance is achieved.
Thank you.
Matter number 5, case number CE21020323, case address 4081 San Marino Boulevard, Unit 304.
Good morning, Officer Levine, City of West Palm Beach Code. This property was cited for failure to obtain a rental license and certificate of use. Certified mail was returned. The property was posted on 3/24/21. I've had no contact with the property owner. Occupancy of the unit was verified by property management. The city's requesting 30 days to come into compliance or $200 a day thereafter.
All right, there is proper notice with the posting after the returned certified mail. Based on the evidence, I will find the property remains in violation as cited. Accept the city's recommendation. I will allow an additional 30 days to comply. Thereafter, daily fines of $200 per day until compliance is achieved.
Matter number 6, case number CE21040360, case address 1710 45th Street, Unit L13.
Craig Snack Bar, located at 1710 45th Street, Unit L13, was cited for failure to renew its business tax receipt. There is still a balance of $28.95. Failure to renew certificate of use, BTR penalties, and failure to display the receipt at the business. Now, originally, the inspection was done for display of the receipt. However, upon further check, we realized that the license was still delinquent. It would not be printed unless he paid the $28.95. I've spoken to that business owner at least 3 occasions, the last occasion being last Friday, to let him know, well, look, unless you pay this $28.95, the license would not print. As of this morning, no payment was made. However, certified mail was signed for on 4/16/21 by Mr. Wells. The city is requesting 10 days to come, one-time fee, of $250 for 82143C, and 10 days to come into compliance or $100 a day thereafter.
All right, there is proper notice with the signed certified mail. Based on the evidence, I will find the property remains in violation as cited. For the 2232A, I'll allow 10 days to comply. Thereafter, daily fines of $100 per day until compliance is achieved. For the business tax violations, I will impose a one-time fine of $250.
Thank you.
Matter number 7, case number CE21030375, address 521 46th Street.
Good morning. Chris Thompson, City of West Palm Code Compliance. Property at 521 46th Street was cited on 3/17/21. Notice of violation was posted at City Hall and certified mail was sent on 3/17/21. Property was cited for unpaved parking and outdoor storage. I have not made contact with the homeowner, and as of yesterday, the property is still not in compliance. City is asking for an additional 15 days to come to compliance or $100 a day until compliance is achieved.
Thank you. I will find proper notice in this case. I will find the property remains in violation as cited, accept the city's recommendation, allow an additional 15 days to comply. Thereafter, daily fines of $100 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Matter number 8, case number CE21030613, case address 4500 Pinewood Avenue.
Christopher Thompson, City of Palm Beach, West Palm Beach, Code Compliance. Property at 4500 Pinewood was cited on 3/31/21. Notice of violation was posted at City Hall on April 1st, 21. Certified mail was also sent on April 1st, 21. Property was cited for inoperable vehicle, trash can placement, and unpaved parking. As of yesterday, the property is still not in compliance. I have not made contact with the homeowner. City is requesting an additional 30 days to come into compliance or $100 a day until compliance is achieved.
Thank you. I will find proper notice in this case. I will find, based on the testimony and the evidence, that the property remains in violation as cited. I'll accept the recommendation to allow an additional 30 days to comply. Thereafter, daily fines of $100 per day are assessed until compliance is achieved.
Thank you.
Matter number 9, CE21030511, case address 417 South Dixie Highway.
Magistrate, there's 3 identical properties with identical violations that could be heard at the same time.
This is 415, 421, and 417 South Dixie.
Yes, 415 South Dixie, 421 South Dixie, and 417. They're all identical violations.
Yeah,
Same
but we
owner.
can take, are they all adjacent to each other, or is that?
Yes, they are.
Okay, let's go ahead and we can do all 3.
Okay. Also calling matter number 10, case number CE21030515, case address 421 South Dixie Highway, and matter number 11, case number CE21030524, case address 415 South Dixie Highway.
John Frosco, West Palm Beach Code. These properties were declared a chronic nuisance on March 25th, March 26th, and the properties were posted on March 26th. And certified mail was sent out. It was sent out to 3 separate addresses as a packet, 2 different tax rolls and the registered agent. This way, that as sent for a packet, we could get as much as we possibly can to supply that notice. So all 3 addresses were sent certified mail for the declaration. And requiring the owner to submit a sufficient action plan to curtail all that nuisance activity. You know, the overgrowth, the graffiti, the debris, the obstruction of the right-of-way. This was all based on prior adjudicated cases of non-compliance. So I did not receive a action plan from the owner, and there was no contact. So then the notice of violation and notice of hearing was sent out, and the properties were posted all on April 13th of 2021. So the city would be asking the magistrate to formally declare these properties a chronic nuisance and enter a service order allowing the city to abate for those code violations and bill all costs back to the owner of the property.
All right. I'm just wanting to understand how which piece of this is which address. I'm just trying to, from the pictures, tell.
Okay, that one, she's going through them, I'll go through them. That is the furthest south, 421, because the buildings are all contiguous to each other. So 415, so if you start that, you can see that's 2 properties together.
All right, so there's a
slow the pictures so that instead of scanning, we can go through them one by one.
So like right there's the building in front with a flat roof, and then there's the gabled roof.
Right,
Those are 2 separate addresses?
The flat roof is 421, it's further south. Then 417 is going north. So where you see the big billboard graffiti there, that is 417.
Okay.
Okay, and see it there. And the graffiti is on each building.
Yeah.
None of their, actually the violations are pretty identical on everything except for the old Russo subs, 415. you have an obstruction of, a partial obstruction of the alleyway because of the overgrowth of vegetation.
Okay.
But they're pretty identical.
Okay, I got it. I just was trying to understand which was which.
Magistrate, also, just for the record, Bright Blue LLC has two other properties that have been adjudicated as chronic nuisances and declared, and service orders have been placed on that property. So it's kind of one big area downtown that they've neglected, just for the record.
Okay. All right, so we have case ending in 511, the case ending in 515, and the case ending in 524. For each of those, I do find proper notice with the notice documents contained in the file, even though the respondent is not present. Based on the testimony and the evidence, the city's declaration of chronic nuisance is upheld. I will hereby enter a chronic nuisance service order that authorizes the city to enter the property, provide the services, abate and cure the violations, and assess the costs. And I will sign those orders right now.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Case number 12, CE 21010044, 6 through 2 Hibiscus Street is being reset for another hearing date. Excuse me. Excuse me. Matter number 13, case number CE 21030486, case address 213 Clematis Street.
And what happened to 12?
That case is being heard at another hearing date.
Oh,
It's
okay.
being reset to another hearing date.
Scheduled. All right. Sorry, go ahead, Mr. Williams, whenever you're
Okay,
ready.
thank you. Actually, with regard to 632 Hibiscus, that one will be rescheduled for another hearing that you will preside over, because you're actually privy to that particular case, rather, all of the details.
Lucky me.
Michael Williams, Code Enforcement Officer, City of West Palm Beach.
That's that one. Oh, yeah, that's that.
Property 213 Clematis was initially cited on 3/23/21. Certified mail was sent on 3/24/21. City Hall, as well as the property, was posted on 3/24/21. Property was cited for 18101-1, clean and sanitary conditions, 18105N, painting of the structure, 74-4-C-5, cleanup of the right-of-way and the adjacent alleys, and 94-315-B-1, outdoor storage, and also Code Section 94-442-C-1. I subsequently discovered that that particular portion of the property does not belong to them, so the city would like to remove that particular section of the code.
So 94-442C1 is withdrawn?
Yes, that section is withdrawn, which is our request. I did speak to a gentleman by the name of Mark Hollenbeck on yesterday. He indicated he was the trustee for Big Time Restaurant Group, whom I understand owns this particular establishment, Greece. And so he indicated that they are in receipt of all of the correspondence. However, they had not completed any of the violations. So what he's requesting is 30 additional days in order to comply, or a fine of $100 per day be imposed, is what we agreed upon.
Okay. I do find proper notice in this case. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find property remains in violation as cited, but 94-442C1 is withdrawn, and that is not part of my findings. I will go ahead and accept that recommendation, allow the additional 30 days to comply. Thereafter, daily fines of $100 per day until compliance is achieved.
Matter number 14, CE 21030491, case address 215 Clematis Street.
Michael Williams, Code Enforcement Officer, City of West Palm Beach. This case was initially cited on 3/23/21. Certified mail was sent on 3/24/21. We do have a signed certified mail receipt on file. Property as well as City Hall was posted on 3/24/21. Property was cited for 105.1, failure to secure a building permit for a storage unit that was installed on the rear of the property. 18-101, clean and sanitary conditions. 18105J, painting of the structure. And 74-4-C-5, cleanup of the right-of-way, more specifically the alleyway. And also 94-315-B-1 outdoor storage. I have not received any phone calls or correspondence from the owner or management of this particular property. And so in light of the gravity of the violations, the city would like to give them an additional 30 days in order to comply, or a fine of $100 per day be imposed.
All right, thank you. I do find proper notice in this case. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find the property remains in violation as cited. I'll accept the city's recommendation, allow 30 additional days to comply, thereafter daily fines of $100 per day.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
Okay. Matter number 15, case number CE 21020368, case address 536 18th Street.
Cassandra St. Hilaire, Code Enforcement Officer with the City of West Palm Beach. This property was cited February 27th. Certified mail was signed for on March 4th. I've had no contact with the property owner. The property was cited for 18162A, 7434A1H, 2232A, and 94442C1. At this time, the city is requesting an additional 10 days for code section 7434A1H, and the remaining 10 days or $25 per day. And for the remaining violations, 30 days or $200 per day until compliance is achieved.
What did you want for the landscaped areas? Is that also?
That's also with 30 days of the rental license and COU.
All right, so 10 for the trash can and 30 for everything else?
Yes. And $25 for the trash can.
25 per day for the trash can, and
Yes.
did you want 200 a day for the others? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, there is proper notice in this case.
Cassandra, how do you know it's still being rented?
There's a car right in there with mailboxes. There's tenants in there.
Anything else from the city? We good?
Cassandra, do you have anything else or no?
No, I mean, yeah, just, there's cars, there's people coming out of the building. I've seen them, which is why I cited for the rental license. Because I know it's being rented.
Are
I've seen
you
it.
seeing multiple mailboxes with different unit numbers on them?
Yeah,
Do you see more than one different type of car?
I've always seen this one particular car that's in the picture.
Do you have water bills or anything else that would indicate they're in a different name than the name of the owner?
No, because I've seen the people. So I know it's people living in there that's not the owner.
Have you had contact with the tenants?
No, ma'am.
Contact with the owner?
No, ma'am.
Sir, you may go forward on the basis of the testimony at this time unless the code enforcement officer wishes to withdraw the case.
Excuse me? I didn't hear you.
The special magistrate can go forward with,
okay.
based on your testimony, unless you wish to withdraw
No.
the 18162 and 2232A.
No, I stand on it. I know there's tenants in there.
There's no evidence to the contrary. I will enter the requested order in this case. You do have proper notice. And based on the testimony and the evidence that's been presented, I will find the property remains in violation as cited For 7434A1H, I'll allow 10 additional days to comply. Thereafter, daily fines of $25 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved. For the remaining violations, I'll allow an additional 30 days to comply. Thereafter, daily fines of $200 per day will be assessed until compliance is achieved.
Thank you.
Matter number 16, case number CE 21030012, case address 737 19th Street has complied. Matter number 18, case number CE 21030125, case address 636 53rd Street.
City of West Palm Beach Code Compliance, Robert Watkins. This property was cited on March the 8th. Certified mail was sent March the 8th. Certified mail was returned. City Hall was posted on April the 2nd. This property was cited for 18-144, 22-32A, 34-102A, 94-442C-1, 94-71C, 94-42A, 18-106G, 18-162A, and 78-94C. Compliant violations as of yesterday are 34-102A, 18-106G, 78-94C. I've had no correspondence with the homeowner or property management at any time. The remaining violations are 82-144, 22-32A, 94-442C-1, 94-71C, 94-482-A, and 18-162A. The city is requesting 30 days or $100 per day after. And I have spoken to the tenant that lives in the rear. He still lives there, but the tenant that used to live in the front main house has moved out.
All right, so the painting and the vehicle and the swale have all complied?
Yes, sir.
Everything else is remains in violation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. On the BTR, is that a one-time $250 fine?
Yes, sir. Yeah, they soldered the swell, but I guess while they're working, they just park their trucks in the middle of the yard, and they haven't decided to do that yet.
Okay. All right, in this case, I do find proper notice with the posting after the return certified mail. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I'll find the property remains in violation as cited, except for 18106G, 34102A, and 7894C, which those three violations have complied. That's the swales, the abandoned vehicle, and the paint. For the remaining violations, I'll accept the city's recommendation. Well, for the remaining violations except 82144, I'll accept the city's recommendation to allow 30 additional days to comply. Thereafter, daily fines of $100 per day. For 82144, the business tax violation, there will be a one-time $250 penalty assessed for that.
Matter number 20, case number CE 21030466, case address 5913 Pinewood Avenue.
City of West Beach Code Compliance, Robert Watkins. This property was cited on March the 22nd. Certified mail was sent March 24th. Certified mail was received on the 25th of March. This property was cited for 82-144, 22-32A, 94-302A-3, 74-34A-1J, 34-102A, 94-442C-1, 94-71C, 94-482A, 18-162A, and 18-100. Compliant violations are 18-144, 22-32-A, 74-34A-1J, 34-102A, 94-71C, 94-42A, 18-162A, and 18-100. Remaining violations are 94-302-A-3 and 94-442C-1. The city is requesting 40 days or $100 per day after to come into compliance with the remaining violations.
All right, so the only outstanding violations is the fence permit and
Sodding.
the sod.
Yes, sir.
All right, with the received certified mail, the city has proper notice. I will find, based on the evidence and the testimony, that the property is in compliance with all violations that were cited in the notice except 94-302A3 regarding the fence and the fence permit, and 94-442C1 regarding the landscaped areas requiring sod. I'll accept the city's recommendation, allow 20 additional days to bring those violations into compliance. Thereafter, daily fines of $100 per day until compliance is achieved.
Matter number 21, case number CE 2103047, case address 615 52nd Street.
City of West Beach Code Compliance Officer Robert Watkins. This property was cited on March the 20th. Certified mail was sent March 24th. City Hall was posted on April the 2nd. This property was cited for 82-144, 22-32A, 18-106A, 94-302A-3, 94-302A-4, 94-442C1, 18-106M, 94-71C, 94-42A, and 18-162A. Compliant violations are 18-106A, 94-42A. Remaining violations are 82-144, 22-32A, 94-302A-3, 94-302A-4, 94-442C-1, 18-106M, 94-71C, and 18-162A. As of yesterday, I've had communication with the homeowners, who we both agreed that on the city's request in the 40 days or $100 per day after for the remaining violations.
Did you say 40 days?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then a one-time $250 fine for the business tax?
Yes, sir.
All right, with the posting and the returned certified mail, the city has proper notice. I'll find, based on the evidence and the testimony, that the property has complied with 18106A, clean and sanitary, and 94-482A parking requirements, but remains in violation of all other code sections cited in the notice. For the 82-144 business tax receipt, I'll impose a one-time fine of $250. For all other violations, I'll allow 40 days for compliance. Thereafter, daily fines of $100 per day until compliance is achieved.
Matter number 22, case number CE 2103048, case address 730 59th Street.
City of West Beach Code Compliance Robert Watkins. This property was cited on March the 23rd. Certified mail was sent March 24th. City Hall was posted April the 2nd. This property was cited for 94-6. Remaining violations are 94-6. The city is requesting additional 30 days or $50 per day after. The gentleman has to either get the proper zoning, which it isn't zoned for it, or convert that rear unit back into a storage or whatever have you. But he's only set to have a single-family rental unit there, and he has 2 units, one in the front and one in the rear.
Well, he divided it into 2?
I'm not sure if he divided, but he has 2 units there. And it's supposed to be, he's set to have a single-family home as a rental. And per the property appraisal and look up on the property, it was only really one house there. But somehow that's a rear unit.
He's renting it to 2 people, or he's living in half?
Yeah, 2 separate people, 2 separate families, one in the rear and one in the front.
Okay. So in the 30 days, what has to happen?
Either, because the last I spoke to him was about almost 30 days ago, and he said that he was going to email and try to figure out a way or have the tenants leave. So, and I haven't heard anything else back from him. I'm not sure how much extra time he would need for that to happen, or I don't even know how many days to go off actually for him to have them move or to what have you. There's no more communication that I've received from him on this.
But compliance could be achieved by one of them?
Yeah, one of them moving out or contacting with zoning to try to get it figured out, a way of having to or anything of that nature. But like I said, I haven't gotten back in contact with them or heard anything
I just
about
want to
it.
make sure there's a way to comply within 30 days. It sounds like there is. And there may be multiple ways to comply. Some might take more than that, but there is a way to comply within the time frame you're requesting. So, all right, I will find proper notice with the posting and the return certified mail. I will find, based on the testimony and the evidence, that the property remains in violation as cited. I'll accept the city's recommendation, allow an additional 30 days to comply, and then after that, daily fines of $50 per day until compliance is achieved.
Matter number 23, case number CE 21030514640 52nd Street.
City of Westminster Code Compliance, Robert Watkins. This property was cited on March the 25th. Certified mail was sent March 25th. Certified mail was received the 29th of March. This property was cited for 18-265, 18-106A, 34-102A, 78-6, 94-42A, and 18-106G. Compliant violations are 34-102A, 94-42-A. Remaining violations are 18-265, 18-106A, 78-6, 18-106G. The city is requesting additional 40 days or $100 per day after.
How many days?
Say again?
How many
40.
days? 20?
40.
40. Sorry. Or 100, you said?
100.
Okay. All right, with the received certified mail, the city has proper notice. Based on the testimony and the evidence, I will find the property has complied with City Code Sections 34102A and 94482A. If it remains in violation of the other violations cited in the notice, I'll accept the city's recommendation, allow an additional 40 days to comply, thereafter daily fines of $100 per day until compliance is achieved.
Jumping to other matters.
Pardon?
Going to other matters.
Oh, okay, the 11:30 agenda.
Yes.
And I suppose we have some folks here who were not here this morning that need to be sworn in. All right, if you're, here we go. If you're here for the 11:30 agenda and you were not here earlier this morning when I swore in witnesses, I do need your testimony to be sworn. So if you haven't been previously sworn in today, if you'll please stand and raise your right hands, I'll swear everybody in at the same time. Thank you. Do each of you swear or affirm under penalties of perjury that your testimony today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you very much. You can have a seat. When your case is called, please come up to the podium to my right. I'll hear from the city first. I'll get some background information on the property and on the request. Once that is concluded, the city may make a recommendation to me as well. I'll then come over to you and you can tell me about your request for the lien reduction. After I've heard everything from both the city and you, the applicant, will enter an order that resolves the matter. And let's go ahead and proceed in, I guess, the order of the sign-up sheet. Yep.
Other matter number 2 and 12 are the same address. Case number CE 18090319 and case number CE 19020177, case address 4101 Garden Avenue. Ms. Fratcher?
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Go ahead, Mr. Posner, whenever you're ready.
Mitch Posner, Code Enforcement. Going in chronological order, earliest case first. Case ending in 319, 4101 Garden. Date ordered 12/5 of 18. Fine started 1/7 of 19. Ran for 112 days. Total $5,600. $50 a day. Date of compliance 4/29 of 19. This will be the same owner. Case ending in 177, 4101 Garden, date ordered 4/17 of 19. Fine started 9/16 of 19, ran for 479 days. Total $239,500. It was $500 a day, date of compliance 1/7 of 21. On the earlier one, the city's asking for 50%. On the later one, due to the size of the lien, the city's asking for 10% instead of the normal request, which would have been 50. Mitigation is they bought the property with additional unit and blames the property manager for not taking care of the case when cited. In either case, it would certainly be their responsibility. They were cited for an illegal garage conversion. The city doesn't dispute whether or not they bought it with that. We don't have the knowledge one way or the other. But of course, they inherited the problem when they bought the property.
Is it the same owner as the violations?
I'm sorry?
Is it the same owner from when the violations happened, or?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, same owner.
Yes, property was bought in February of 2017, and the cases were in 2018 and 2019 respectively.
Thank you. And then what is this, a multi-family? A single family? Single family with a detached garage, is that what it is?
Single family, and the garage was illegally converted.
Okay. Do you have any insight on in the 2019 case, why the daily fine, that's higher than typical? Is there any insight onto why that was done at $500 a day?
I do not know at the time. I wasn't involved in the original case, and the original case officer is no longer with the city. The only thing I do know that I neglected to add was, it ran for 479 days, which of course compounded that.
Yeah.
It was cited February of 2019, and there wasn't even a permit application until November. So a lot of that compounding was really on them or their property manager, still the owner's responsibility.
Okay. All right, let me hear from the applicant. Yes, ma'am, if you could tell me your name and address, and then you can tell me about your request for the lien reduction.
My name is Shalia Fratcher, 4101 Garden Avenue, West Palm Beach, Florida, 33405. When I bought the property in 2017, the garage was already converted into a studio apartment, which is one of the reasons why I bought the property. When I talked to the realtor, he was telling me that, the property is ready to rent. And so that's what I did. I thought it was a bonus, not just the studio, but also the lot that's on the side of it, which is another reason why I bought the property. At the time, I did not know that the unit was not permitted. So I ran on and I rented it out, and then one of the tenants in there said that there was a mold issue, which it wasn't. I had someone come and inspect the place. She had called code at the time, and that is when I found out that the property was not permitted. During the time that I was cited for all of the violations, I was in the process of trying to get someone to help me to get the place up to code, to find out what I needed to do with the property, because I didn't know at the time. And yes, it is my error, because I should have known, but I didn't know. But in doing so, just trying to get the property up to code. So it took me a little while, because it's like save money, hire people, got ripped off several times. So then it's starting the process all over again. So it took me a little bit to get it up to code, but I did do it. I got it to up to code.
So it's no longer or tell me how is the garage configured now? Is it still a rental unit, or is it?
No, it's a habitable space, but I'm not doing anything with it right now.
Okay. All right. And it's in compliance as long as it's not rented out, it can,
As near as I can tell, they pulled the permits to make it a legal habitable space. Is that correct, ma'am?
That's correct.
Right. They don't have rented at the moment, but it is a habitable space. And to answer your earlier question, reviewing this and hearing our testimony, the mold would be the reason for the $500 a day
mold.
fine.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, anything else, ma'am?
Yeah, but there was no mold when they came in. They had their things were stored in somebody's patio. So when they moved in, I guess they were there maybe 2 months. And then she started to complain about mold. And I had someone come and inspect and looked at the place. There was no mold. It was, you know, the roof was pretty much brand new, so I couldn't understand. But I did see where they wasn't running the AC. It was kind of warm and moist, so I told her, I said, you have to run the AC here in Florida. You cannot not have that AC on. You have to have it, even if you drop, you know, raise the temperature up to 70, 75, but at least there's some air coming in the place. So that was the only thing I could see where, from them storing their things on a patio and then bringing them in to the facility, just didn't make sense to me. So I did have it looked at, and there was no mold.
Okay, does the city's file have a mold remediation report in it or anything like
Not
that?
that I'm aware of. Wendy, can you bring up the case? The original case? 4101 Garden, case ending in 177.
Or ma'am, do you have anything with you that shows that the mold inspection came up negative?
No, I didn't bring anything with me, no.
Did they provide you a report at the time, if I can ask?
No, I had my roofer. He came in there and he looked and he said, there is no issue with the roof. There's no issue with anything. I can get him to come in and verify that, or I can do a
Wendy,
letter
you
or
can
something.
stop. There's no,
yeah.
understand. Okay, so it was a visual report from the roofer, not a mold remediation specialist. So we would not have a mold remediation report.
All right. All right, anything else from the city?
No, sir.
Anything else from you, ma'am?
No, sir.
All right. So you never had to spend any money for mold remediation? You never had to do anything
No,
in that regard?
no.
All right. All right, then I'm going to, let's see, in the case ending in 319, that's the 2018 case. I will reduce that to $1,000. And in the 2019 case, the one ending in 20177, it's a big lien. It's $239,500. Some of that was based on the mold testimony. Is that at the end of the day, you did not have to spend any money to remediate mold, and there's no evidence that the violation was an appearance of mold, but there's no evidence that there actually was mold. So I'm going to reduce, and everything's now in compliance. I'm going to reduce that one to $5,000. So that's a total of $6,000. How long will it take you to pay that, ma'am? I can give you up to a year.
No, I'm gonna need longer than that because I don't have that kind of money. So I do need longer than that.
Go ahead and do 12 months on the order. Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Now is other matter number 3, 9, and 10. Case numbers CE 08040351, CE 18040550, and CE 20070452. Case address 938 31st Street.
938 31st.
I apologize. I have a cup here because I get sick sometimes. I'm trying to go through a liver transplant. I just don't want to get sick.
Okay, I will do my best to keep up.
Again, chronological, earliest case first. Case ending in 351, 938 31st Street. Date ordered 6/13 of '08. Fine started 7/29 of '08. Ran for 441 days. Total is $66,150. $150 a day. Date of compliance 10/13 of '09. This one is new owner. Current owner was not responsible for the origination of the lien. As such, and based on history, we'll go over the city's asking for 30%. Case ending in 550, 938 31st Street. Date ordered 6/6 of '18. Fine started 7/10 of '18. Ran for 170 days. Total $25,500, $150 a day. Date of compliance 12/27 of '18. Same owner. The city's asking for 50%. Case ending in 452, 938 31st Street. Date ordered 8/19 of '20. Fine started 8/31 of '20. Ran for 183 days, $9,150. $50 a day. Date of compliance 3/2 of '21. Same owner. City's asking for 50% on that as well. History of ownership under this property dates back to May of 2013, and 13 cases. Between the 13 times we had to cite of their ownership and the number of days these last, clearly we're dealing with city-managed property. The mitigating circumstances on their application is the property manager didn't receive the notice of violation, but of course, notice was proper and sent to the address listed for the owner with the county appraiser's office.
There's a little bit of overlap. It was not cited as a repeat, the 2020 case for the garbage can placement, or I guess that's the only overlapping. Okay, all right.
Well, it was complied before the 20 case. They cited several things that they could have done as a repeat. They clearly opted not to.
Okay. Yes, sir. Go ahead and tell me your name and address, and then you can tell me about the request for the lien reductions.
My name is Warner Hawley. It's Hawley Investments LLC that the property is in. I was investing property since 1996 in West Palm Beach. This is the first time I've ever had to appear in front of a magistrate. So I'm a newbie here, so please give me a little bit of latitude. I understand some of what the gentleman mentioned. I know there was a previous lien on the other owner, and I get that part. The other issues that when I spoke with Monique for not the first time, I saw her for the first time yesterday, she told me there was, I think, a 2018 and 2020 issues. One was like 9,000, one was like 25,000. I didn't understand it. I know that I was sent something, and I sent it to my property manager, Ken Best, and I also went out to the property when I heard about it, and I didn't see what the issues were. I was trying to see this here. I'm trying to find out what the issues are. I know Ray went out and met with Ken Best, my property manager at the time, and everything was copacetic. So I don't know how all this accrued. All he done is try to clean everything up, new roofs, new air conditioners, new this, that, and have it mowed every month. And I thought I did everything right, and I don't understand why all this is accrued. But I didn't see any issues. I'm sure there are. I still don't see them from these photos, though. I don't know exactly what the
These
issues.
aren't the original case photos, Magistrate. These are from the lien reduction inspections. So we show the property is now in compliance. We're not trying to prove a violation at this moment.
Right, these all show compliance.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I was asked to paint the house. I repainted the house. I thought I did everything correctly, and then I see these different liens, and I just don't think it's correct. But I'm not here to fight. I'm just disagree with some of it. That's all.
May I ask a question, Magistrate?
Yes.
Sir, is it the same property manager throughout? Because you mentioned the property manager didn't receive
Yes.
it, and then you
Yes,
mentioned
sir.
Ken Best as the current property manager. Is that the same person throughout?
Yes, I purchased the property through him also, so he's been my property manager. Yes,
Understood.
sir. Throughout.
All right, anything else from the city?
Yes, sir. I do understand that he had this in the hands of the property manager. And of course, if anyone owner has questions about whether or not it is a violation, they're welcome to reach out to us. But bottom line is this property manager was responsible for 13 cases under his management, which is the responsibility of the owner. It's a city-managed property, perhaps a different manager where the owner might do better in the future, I don't know.
Well, I have to sell it. I lost my job. I'm just trying to get rid of it before this liver transplant.
Sorry to hear that, sir.
Hear this.
What did you say about your job, sir? Say that again.
No, I lost my job a year ago. I had a diabetic supply business, and now I have liver issues, so I'm trying to go through transplant problems.
All right. Anything else that you'd like to tell me, sir, before I...
I'm sorry, sir?
Anything else you'd like to tell me before I enter my order?
No, I just, the day I closed on this property, I think it was in 2013, I went the next day, my air conditioner was already stolen. I mean, it's just been a nightmare for me, and just more money, more money, more money. But it is what it is, and that's what investors, sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. But I just think that this is excessive, and that's all.
Okay. So here's, I've listened to the testimony from the city and from the applicant. In the 2008 case, that was a previous owner, and that's a $66,150 lien. I will reduce that one to $5,000. On the 2018 case, that's a $25,500 lien. I'm going to reduce that to $1,500, and on the case ending in 452, the 2020 case, I'll reduce that to $1,000. So that's a total of $7,500. How long will it take you to pay that, sir?
I can't even pay my own mortgage for 2 months. I'm way behind. If I sell the property, I'll be able to pay it. But I'm just curious. I appreciate what you're helping me with, and I knew you are helping me. But I don't even know how I could be sold that $50,000 house with a $65,000 loan on it, or a lien on it. I didn't even think they would sell property with liens on them. I mean, they don't do it for cars. I don't even get why I would have to pay $5,000 for that is my question.
I don't have an answer for you on that. Title searches are supposed to catch those things.
But why would I have to pay the $5,000 for that when it was something that I was not even involved in? Is there a way to reduce that? It would just be helpful if possible.
If I may, sir, question? Sir, When you called yesterday, you said the property was closing, and that's why we made the exception and got you on this agenda.
It's supposed to
Correct?
close on the 15th. I do not know that it will. Yes.
Okay.
It's supposed to close on the 15th. I do not know
Understand.
if they have financing done or not. I mean, I have to sell it just to pay my own mortgage before they kick me out of my own house.
Well, go ahead and put 12 months on the order, and that's pretty much as much time as I'm willing to stretch these out, so, for each of those three. Okay, thank you very much.
I thank you, sir.
Other matter number 1, case number CE 15100-599, case address 1739 Village Boulevard, Unit 308.
Good morning, everyone.
Case ending in 599, 1739 Village Boulevard, number 308. Date order 12/7 of 16. Fine started 2/6 of 17. Ran for 1,383 days. Total $138,300. $100 a day. Date of compliance 11/20 of 20. Sorry, sir. This would be, it looks like a previous owner. I thought it was, no, same owner. I see. They quit-claimed it. I thought maybe my notes were wrong. Same owner. City's asking for 5% instead of 30 simply because of the size of the lien. And the case was for work without permits. They are blaming the property manager for not pulling the permit. That's the mitigating circumstance.
Okay, let me hear from the applicant. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. I'm Corey Carano. I'm counsel for Julie Hahn. She is one of the 3 owners. We hate to be the 3rd person in a row to blame the situation on the property manager, but in this case, that's what we're here to do, unfortunately. Ms. Hahn has owned the property for quite some time. Some key facts: property is well underwater. She bought the property back at the height of the market for about $152,000. Currently, $120,000 loan. Even with the increased market today, she's still underwater about $32,000. She brought a bag of paperwork to demonstrate that she's lost about $80,000 on this property. She's been renting it out. She bought it at a young age. She had a property manager. She expected the property manager to put in a new AC with permits, and he did not. She moved to North Carolina, so she didn't receive notice of the violation. It's not an excuse by any means. We're just letting you know why she didn't do it. She provided a very detailed list of the facts that brought us to this hearing today. I brought her here just certainly to answer any questions you may have. Under the gravity of the situation, there hasn't been any issues with the air conditioning. It's been a rented property. It's been a well-maintained property. Upon learning about this violation from her new property manager, he immediately recommended she contact me. We got it done within 2 months. So 1 month. And that's during the pandemic, no less. So certainly there's been diligence on the person requesting the lien reduction, and under most circumstances I would understand 5%, but in this case she's asking for a reduction less than that, hopefully just costs.
What was, what brought it to light finally that, oh my God, there's a lien on the property?
I figured you would ask that. There was a tenant with the property manager, Glenn Gerbich, and that lease was coming to an end. So the property manager asked her, do you want to renew or do you want to sell? And she said, well, you can look into selling and let me know how it turns out. She hasn't sold the property. This turned up immediately. So that was the first time she learned. She still doesn't know if she's going to sell the property or not. This is the first step addressing this. Is the property re-rented?
Yes.
Yeah, so she did re-rent the property. So it's not on the market currently. It's rented to someone else. So that's how she learned about it.
I don't have it with me, Magistrate, but we found a listing online for sale for $115,000. So if it's not listed,
Then I am incorrect.
Well, that's whenever he started the process, he listed it, but we haven't gone into any kind of a contract or anything like that.
can she come to the mic if
Sure.
she's speaking?
So to clarify, she's saying that it was listed by the other property manager previously, but he didn't remove the listing. So I was
Okay,
incorrect.
I follow.
My apologies. I was incorrect.
Okay. All right. Anything else from the city?
We certainly understand the circumstances that they're describing and not disputing any of that. Proper diligence, of course, would have been to change the mailing address to the North Carolina address, which they've now done. And maybe that could have alleviated it. We've asked for a reduction to 5% of it, so I think 95% reduction is quite generous.
Anything else from the applicant?
We were just hoping to be just around $2,500, which I figured with the city's costs. I've done plenty of these hearings. I know this city is very fair and reasonable and always has been, so we would just request that same treatment.
Yeah, can I say one?
Any chance I get him to repeat that last line?
Oh, I said, I really do like this city. The city is certainly better than many of the other cities that I've been in front of when it comes to lien reductions by far. But she would like to add a fact, if she may.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Thank you. So obviously I purchased the property back in 2005 whenever I was 23, and then I never intended for it to be a rental property. But whenever I got a job offer in 2008 in North Carolina, then I had to move, and the relocation appraisal said it was $40,000, and I couldn't come out of pocket, so I had to rent it. So I've been renting it for less than what I pay out, because I also got the mortgage at a higher interest rate, and my parents helped me buy the property, so I never thought about going into bankruptcy because I never wanted to hurt their credit. And we changed the title, I think it was 2017 or 2018, to add my husband and my mom's trust on it, just as they were putting together trust documents. That was the first time we actually thought to do that. And at that time, there was no notification that told us there was a lien on it. And even my tax records, nothing came up until they said, hey, you're finally, I think you're going to be able to sell it for more than what you are owing on it. And that was news to my ears because of how much we've lost. And I've got, if you need to see it, I've got the receipt for the AC. I've got the bank statement showing how much I've lost, how much I've gotten in income from it versus expenses. And I don't know what else to add, just that as soon as I found out, I think it was October 21st, I immediately was trying to get in touch with Harold. I've been talking to Monique, trying to get everything squared away. As soon as I found out, we requested the permit right away to make sure that there was anything that needed to be brought up to code. He said there was a few minor things, but it took about 3 weeks just to get the permit. And I've got email addresses with Ms. Holder. I reached out to her to see if she could help me try to speed the process along to get the permit. So as soon as I found out, I have tried to take care of it. And I got Corey because in the middle of the pandemic, I didn't know if I was going to be I didn't know how long the process was, if I was going to be able to travel. And I also have never done this before. So I just wanted to make sure I understood what I was doing, because the lien is more than the property is worth. And so it just,
Sure.
yeah.
All right, no, I take you at your word for all that. I don't need to review the documents.
I left it in the Uber. I was freaking out, so he brought it back.
It's been a very stressful morning for her.
All right, no, I thank you very much for all that. All right, so we have $138,300 lien. I've listened to the city's testimony. I've listened to applicant's testimony. I'm going to agree to reduce this to $4,000. How long will it take you to pay that? Can you do that in 6 months?
Yeah, 6 months.
6 months. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you. Matter numbers 7, 8, and 11. Case number CE 16080144.
Case number CE16100170 and case number CE18050415. Case address 3009 Clyde Road.
Magistrate, I don't have the case number, but 925 Macy is the same applicant. I don't know if you want to hear it all together or.
And say that again?
Oh, okay.
927 Macy, I'm not sure of the case number. Kristen will have that, but that's the same applicant.
Yes, sir.
So I didn't know if you wanted to hear it all
address.
together or do the Clyde properties first and then do Macy.
So that's agenda item number 4.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Call them
Yeah.
together?
Yep.
Okay. Let me go back to that page. Sorry. And agenda item number 4, case number CE19040259, case address 925 Macy Street.
All right. We'll try to keep up.
Me too, sir. Case ending in 144, 3009 Clyde Street. Date ordered 11/2 of 16. Fine started 12/3 of 16. Ran for 1,508 days. Total $150,800. $100 a day. Date of compliance 1/19 of 21. Same owner. Case ending in 170, 3009 Clyde. Date ordered 12/7 of 16. Fine started 1/7 of 17. Ran for 248 days, total $24,800, $100 a day, date of compliance 9/22 of 17. Same owner. Case ending in 415, 3009 Clyde. Date ordered 6/20 of 18, fine started 10/18 of 18, ran for 97 days, total $9,700, $100 a day. Date of compliance of 1/23 of 19, same owner. On those 3, the city's asking for 15% on the first one based on the size of the lien instead of 50%. The other 2, the standard 50% based on same ownership and history. And finally, case ending in 259, 925 Macy. Date ordered 5/15 of 19, fine started 6/17 of 19, ran for 582 days. Total $58,200, $100 a day, date of compliance 1/19 of 21. Same owner, city's asking for 50%. Mitigating circumstances on the Clyde property is blames the title company, but none of these liens predate their ownership, so I don't know where the title company would have to do with that. Also stating they didn't receive NOCs, but they were sent to the correct PAPA address, which is still the property address on PAPA today. So all we can do is send it to the address on file. 925 Macy, basically the same thing. The mitigating circumstances is didn't know, but the PAPA address is still the same now as it was when the case was opened.
All right, let me take a look. All right, let me hear from the applicant. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, this is...
Let me get your name and your address first, then you can tell me about the
sorry,
request.
my name is Mohammed Ismail. And I'm sorry, what I need?
Your address?
My here address is 3009 Clyde Road.
The 925 Macy Street or the?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
go ahead.
Well, basically, this is all happened to me to not to understand what to do, how to do, because I never received the. I know this my ignorant. I never received the violation going on in the property. When I find out and the property violation and it was last year, just before, that pandemic. I was trying to figure out how to do it and what to do in this situation to resolve this matter. And thank God, finally I contact with Monique, and then I said, ma'am, please guide me what I need to do in this regard. And then actually, she was very nice, and she told me what to do. That you need to fill up the application and submit. I went to the title company that owned the property I was trying to sell, and title company first actually said, hey, do you know you have a violation in your? So I said, like, well, what violation? So I said, well, can you help me? Then the title company, the lady, was trying to help me to resolve. At that time, because of the pandemic, I cannot come physically to the city. She was communicating and tried to help me. And then finally she told me that, no, you have to go yourself and do it. So I come, like I say, finally I come to contact with Monique. And she was very nice. She was guiding me through until today to come over here. And Your Honor, this is not something just I don't want to know, I want to ignore. It's lack of understanding the process, what to do, how to resolve. That's why it takes that long and so long. And if I knew, I never would, because now I understand that I need a license, and I really didn't know that I need to apply for a license. So those are the things. Reason is happened to me because not to understand. But I'm glad that finally I understand the process, what to do, and I come in front of you about this matter. And obviously, if I don't know something what to do, I'm very nervous about it. I don't know what to do. I really want to do, and so I'm seeking this board help to help me to never happen further on me. Okay. I can obey the city, and I can obey what to do. And as soon as I find out what to do and what it needs to do, you have a couple of city officers also very nice and helpful. If I remember, Miss Valerie, she also guided me. Hey, Mohammed, you need to do this, and I start following it. Let's make easy for me. Also, another officer, Sunia, I think it's Sunia, her name. Very, very nice people, very nice. Has been blessed to meet those three ladies, including Monique, that guide me through over here. At least I find the way how to resolve and go further. I was really stressful because without knowing that I can see it's a lot of money in here, and but thank God that I'm finally in front of you, and I'm just asking the best your ability to help me in this regard, please.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
If I can ask a question before responding. Sir, I didn't quite hear it before. What did you say your address is? Your address?
My residence?
Right.
I live in West Palm Beach. Yes, sir. West Palm Beach, 2075 Shigal Circle.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay.
Magistrate, I'm certainly pleased to hear that our staff was nice and kind in getting through this process. That's always good to hear. However, it's difficult to have any confidence that there's been anything learned here and all this would be avoided in the future. The crux to this is it's yet another rental property where they don't have the appropriate mailing address, so they're saying they don't get notice. And both of these properties, the mailing address is still the same as the property itself. So if we got a violation on the property tomorrow, he would be back again saying, I didn't get the notice.
Yes, may I?
Just a second. Is there any additional history on these besides the cases that I'm dealing with today?
925 Macy had 3 cases under their ownership, and I don't have it down for 3000. Can you bring up the main violation screen for 3009 Clyde, please? No, just stop. Yes, that one. No. Back. Leave it right there. Five cases under their ownership, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, yes, sir. Back to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, like I said, maybe it's 5 cases, but I don't know in what case, what it is. I was going to say the Papa, actually, again, I'm sorry to bring the Monique. She also guided me about this. I need to go to property appraiser office and change all this in this to both of them address to me so I can receive anything I need to receive. And which is, Your Honor, I'm going to do it today.
You know, if you're going to rent property, you need to, there's additional responsibility, and you need to stay in contact with the local government and comply with the licensing and all those requirements, and if you don't, this is what ends up happening. So, and the burden's not on the city to watch your property, and the burden's on you to make sure you stay in touch. So, and follow the code requirements.
Yes,
But,
Your Honor.
any final comments, sir?
Well, I can say that from this point, I learned what I learned. I will follow, every single way. I wish I knew this before, then I didn't have to face what I'm facing right now. So, asking your mercy about this regard, please. Thank you so much.
All right. So we have 4 cases we're dealing with here on the 925 Macy Street address. That's agenda item number 4. The case ending in it's a 2019 case ending in 259. That's a $58,200 lien. I'm going to agree to reduce that to $4,000. On the 3009 Clyde Road address, we have 3 liens. The 2016 case that ends in 144, that's agenda item number 7. That's a $150,800 lien. I'm going to agree to reduce that one to $10,000. The 2016 case ending in 170, that's a $24,800 lien, which I will agree to reduce to $4,000. And the 2018 case ending in 415, that's a $9,700 lien, which I will reduce to $2,000. So the total for all 4 is is $20,000. How long will it take you to pay that, sir? Can you do that within 6 months?
No, Your Honor, that's
Go
long
ahead and
money.
put the 12 months down then. That's for all 4 of those. I'll give you 12 months to pay those. Okay? Thank you very much.
Finally, other matters number 5 and 6, case number CE 16070030 and case number CE 18070531, case address 5170 Willow Pond Road West.
Okay.
Chronological order, oldest case first, case ending in 030, 5170 Willow Pond Road. Date ordered 9/7 of 16, fine started 9/13 of 16, ran for 1,682 days, total 84,100. Fine is $50 a day. Date of compliance 4/22 of '21. Same owner. Case ending in 5/31, 5170 Willow Pond Road. Date order 10/3 of 18. Fine started 11/2 of 18. Ran for 903 days. Total $90,300. Rent for $100 a day. Date of compliance 4/23 of '21. Same owner. Mitigating circumstances is it's the property manager's fault, and they didn't know. Notice was properly sent to the address listed with Papa in both cases. And actually, at the time of lien reduction application, both cases were still accruing fines. They hadn't even been complied yet.
They hadn't been complied when the application was submitted?
Correct. It got complied during this process.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, you can see the compliance dates on these were within the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
City's asking for 30% on both.
Asking for what?
30.
30% on both?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, let me hear from the applicant. Yes, sir.
Hello, good afternoon. Michael Spoliansky, 575 Northeast 5th Terrace, Suite 338, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33301. I'm an attorney for the owner of this particular property. This property was actually sold at a foreclosure auction on May 3rd. The certificate of sale was issued to a new owner. The title has not yet been issued, but will be shortly. These liens came to my client's attention when we listed another property that they have that they're doing a short sale on with the bank. I think it was either end of December or early January. They were brought to my attention, and that's when I really immediately got on top of it and started to figure out what the violations were, and started dealing with the city on bringing them into compliance. I think we had multiple inspections. I think it was one thing here, another thing there. But ultimately, we were able to get everything taken care of. We are asking for, I think in my application, I put $1,000 a lien. I don't know what the administrative costs are, but because this property, not only is it no longer owned by my client, and it's sold to a third party, not only is it in compliance for the benefit of this new owner and the city, of course, but the other property that we are trying to sell, which is really the basis for why we're asking for lien releases, it's a short sale. It's not like my client owns it outright and is going to make an extravagant amount of money. If anything, they're lucky to cover their expenses here, really, and my expenses in having to deal with it. So it's true. I know that the property manager not having notice, 2016, 2018, these things have been accruing for a long time. And we don't dispute that they were properly mailed out. I don't think that's the point. But I think the point is that as soon as I found out about it, as soon as I started representing my client in this matter, we worked diligently. And I think the staff would agree that we've been in constant communication for many months now. I wish it happened quicker, but it didn't. So we're at the mercy of this tribunal in requesting a mitigation of these particular liens.
Okay, anything in response from the city?
There's no reason to dispute anything he said. I mean, we don't have knowledge of a short sale, but no reason to think that that's not accurate. But bottom line is the properties was a business investment, and they're responsible for managing their own investment. This wasn't even a rental license violation in this case. These were all property issues that they or their property manager simply didn't take care of, causing the city to become involved. And again, these things ran for quite a long time. I think $1,000 would be, a reduction to $1,000 would be patently unfair to many of the other owners that come before us for lien reductions.
I would agree with that statement based on my observations here today. I think I'm trying to think of a number that would be reasonable, but within the confines of what this tribunal has agreed to in the past. And I'm not asking for them to be unreasonable, of course, and I'm not trying to be unreasonable as well. So I'm trying to find an amount that's fair. I don't know what the 30% figure is. I'm thinking if we can get something like $6,500 for both or something along those lines, I think that would be something that I know we can do. But again, we're at the mercy of the tribunal.
Okay. All right, so we have two cases. The 2016 case that ends in 030 has a lien of $84,100, and the 2018 case that ends in 0531 has a lien of $90,300. I'm going to reduce both of those to each to $7,500, so the total is $15,000. How long will it take you to pay that?
I think we can get it done within 90 days for sure.
90 days. We'll go ahead and put 90 days on that order, or those orders. Okay, thank you very much.
Great, thank you so much for your time.
Do we need to take a break, or do you want to push through? I'm good to go if, all right. Pardon? 5 minutes, let's take,
Can I ask for 3.5 minutes for her, just in case?
for you, we'll do 5. How about that? Let's go off the record for a 5-minute recess.